You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM with Barry Swain.
Yes, good afternoon, Brilla FM. Football Live is back, and so too is the greatest cup competition on earth. That's right, the FA Cup reaches the fourth round this weekend. Chelsea are out, Newcastle out, Arsenal are now out too. Maybe this is the year of the underdog. 5 great cup ties coming your way on the show today, and we'll be around the ground shortly. Barcelona are in the Liga action, kicking off at Girona inside the next half an hour, and already underway in the German Bundesliga. It's Berlin Derby Day. Hertha Berlin and high-flying Union Berlin, just over 15 minutes on the clock. Let's quickly get right up to date with the opening exchanges at the Olimpiastadion with Football Live's Gage Morgan.
Yeah, cheers, Barry. So, quite a timid opening 15 minutes. No real chances for your team. In terms of team news, Union Berlin signing Josip Janovic is on the bench for the captain. On the other side of the bench, Jerome Roussillon makes his first start, replacing Grisselman. But we've played around 15-16 minutes. It's still 0-0.
There's been a goal in one of the other games in the Bundesliga that's just kicked off. 13 minutes gone. Michael Gregoritsch has scored for Freiburg, who are looking to bounce back from that 6-0 humiliation at Wolfsburg last week. They lead Augsburg by a goal to 0 this afternoon. And Hoffenheim 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 1. Jonas Hoffmann with an early goal for Mönchengladbach there against struggling Hoffenheim. Now, we talked about the FA Cup, and last night the big tie of round 4 saw Manchester City take on Arsenal at the Etihad. Not quite the fireworks of the game that we had last weekend between Arsenal and Manchester United.
Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0, and it's the title holders that beat the title chasers in the big match in the fourth round of the FA Cup on Friday evening at the Etihad. The only goal was an unfamiliar source, Nathan Ake's first goal of the season, teed up by Jack Grealish with a cool finish into the corner. Up until then, Arsenal had more than matched Manchester City, especially in the first half where they created the 2 best chances. Ortega had to be on his toes to make saves from both Leandro Trossard and Takahiro Tomiyasu. Arsenal were better in the first half. City improved in the second half, beginning to take over and scoring that winning goal 25 minutes from time. In the end, City's experience told through and they were able to hold on. They'll be the clear favourites for this season's FA Cup now. Nobody will want to be drawing them when the 5th round is drawn in the next couple of days. Final score at the Etihad, Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. And afterwards, we spoke to the Arsenal manager, Mikel Arteta. How is Thomas Partey, who was taken off injured at half-time?
Yeah, he felt something and we didn't want to take any risk, so he could not continue. We have taken the chance in the big matches this season. That's why we have beaten a lot of the big games, big teams. But unfortunately today it wasn't, and as well we didn't defend the action well enough in the box when Ake scored, which he puts it the fullback with the right foot in the top corner. So it's not that much that you can do. But it's not only that; it's the composure, especially in the second half when we had them and we had momentum there. We had 3 or 4 big openings there, and we have to be more ruthless to put the ball in the net.
And Pep has also said he was surprised by your man-to-man approach, your marking. Will you consider that for the league game next month?
I think it will be a very different match. I'm sure from both sides, probably with different personnel as well. So that's it. We try to compete it and win today. We came here to win the game, and unfortunately we haven't. And the next match will be hopefully different.
Well, let's work through the 5 featured matches in this afternoon's FA Cup. First up, Craven Cottage. Fulham flying in the Premier League up in the new Riverside Stand at Craven Cottage. You can look into the distance and you can see the Wembley Arch. I wonder if Fulham will be going there this season. Fulham reached the final in 1975 in their only cup final appearance. In round 3, they beat Hull City. In round 3 this year, they beat Hull City. Sunderland won the cup 50 years ago this year in 1973. And as a second-tier club, the Black Cats manager Tony Mowbray would love to repeat the impossible dream, but knows only too well that this is a very tough tie for his team.
We want to try and do well, but we have to put into context we play in a team that are one of the form teams in the Premier League at this moment, and I know they've lost 2 really tight games, and I've watched both of them games and they probably didn't deserve to lose either of them, but they did. And that said, when I look at the squad, the players who haven't played on a regular basis are still players that played every week in the Championship last year. You know, likes of Tom Kearney isn't a regular starter. Harry Wilson hasn't been a regular starter, and yet they ripped the Championship to shreds last year. They were way too good for that division, and whoever they play, whatever team they put out, they're going to be really difficult to play against.
Well, earlier results of the FA Cup, by the way, today. There's plenty of interest from Nigerian players as well. The Poundland Bescott, it finished Walsall 0, Leicester City 1 in the Midlands derby. Kelechi Iheanacho, the Nigerian international, with a second half goal to win it for the Premier League club against the League 2 Minnows. So a win there for Leicester City and a goal for Kelechi Iheanacho. That's 2 in the FA Cup for him in recent weeks. And Accrington Stanley 1, Leeds United 3 at the Wham Stadium up in Lancashire in the Dales. Accrington scoring a late goal in that game through an 18-year-old striker called Leslie Adekoya, whose parents are Nigerian. He's born in Ireland. He can play for Ireland, Nigeria and England. Only 18 years of old, 6'4", very tall striker as well. And he, as a product of Accrington Stanley's youth system, got that consolation goal. Firpo Sinistari and Jack Harrison were the goals for Leeds. Comfortable win for them in the end. And now, continuing with the theme of the 1970s FA Cup winners, Southampton are another club to have won the cup from the old second division in the 70s. They are currently bottom of the Premier League and putting in their best performances in the cup. Their opponents today are Blackpool. They beat Nottingham Forest 4-0 in the last round. And of course, that was a match that we had covered right here on Football Live. But the Seasiders have this week sacked their manager, Michael Appleton, replaced him with the former Republic of Ireland manager, Mick McCarthy.
I want to get back in the game. I've been out of the game for 12 months, and I guess I have a bit of history of inheriting teams when they've just had a bit of a struggle and managed to get them out of that trouble. So hopefully that's going to be the same again. You know, when we stay up, we can all be happy and make it look like a good decision. Everybody will have an opinion on it, but I've got experience of getting teams out of trouble from the bottom of the league.
Well, let's hear the team news, shall we, from St Mary's. It's Football Live's very own Molly Sumter.
Thanks, Barry. Mick McCarthy brings 5 changes to his first Blackpool starting 11. We've got Lyons, Poveda and Jerry Yates all coming back into the starting lineup, while Markin Ekpiteta misses out with a hamstring injury. And he's been out of favour recently, but Southampton's number 7 Joe Aribo starts today as they look to go through to the next round of this year's FA Cup. Willie Caballero starts in goal over Bazuzu, and Bella Kotchap comes in at defence. The main man Che Adams starts tonight on the bench. Kickoff is 5 minutes away at St Mary's. It's Southampton against Blackpool.
Excellent stuff. Right, let's cross to the Fulham against Sunderland game, shall we? And get some team news from Ash Sandiford. I started hearing from Tony Mowbray and then skipped straight to the next game without coming to Ash. I do apologise, Ash. Can you give us some team news?
Yeah, hi Barry. Yeah, team news here at Craven Cottage. 7 changes, guys. 7 changes for the team for Fulham today. It's going to be a big performance, we hope, from Fulham. The latest signing, Manuel Solomon starts. He starts his 4th game ahead of William. And Tosin Adebayo, the Manchester-born Nigerian, he's playing at left-back today for Fulham. Also, only 1 change for Sunderland today. That horrific injury last week from captain Corey Evans. He's going to be out and he's now going to be replaced. So just the 1 change for the guys at Sunderland. It's here at Craven Cottage, about 3 or 4 minutes or so to kick off. It's Fulham against Sunderland.
Yeah, good to speak today in the show. 70s FA Cup winners from the second tier of English football. We've heard about Sunderland, we've heard about Southampton. Ipswich won the cup in the 70s, although they were in the top flight when they got their hands on the trophy in 1978. They're currently looking good for promotion in League One. They take on Burnley, who are managed by the former Manchester City legend Vincent Kompany, who has reinvented the Clarets, and they will be almost certainly playing in the Premier League again next season. They're running away with the Championship. With the news of the team news on this one, here's Jordan Mansour.
Hi Barry, yes, FA Cup winners 1978 for Ipswich. They face a fellow FA Cup winner, albeit before the First World War started, in Burnley in 1914. Neither of them have won it from the First Division, however. But Burnley, top of the Championship, looking very comfortable, able to make 7 changes, but they do bring in some key players. Same goes for Ipswich, who, a division below Burnley, are looking with ambition up towards the automatic promotion places, but looking very comfortable in the playoff spot. So they're able to make 8 changes, but again, able to bring back in some key players. So both sides definitely embracing the value and excitement surrounding knockout football in the world's oldest and most historic competition. Should be a thrilling one here at Portman Road. Kick-off in just under 5 minutes.
Thank you very much for that one, Jordan. Now, an all-championship affair at Ashton Gate down in the West Country. Bristol City take on West Bromwich Albion, a team who at one point earlier this season were bottom of the championship. They've changed their manager and they're now just a point outside the playoffs. Maybe, just maybe, they're on their rise, just like Nottingham Forest were last season. They might be seen in the Premier League next season. Checking this one out. It's Bristol City against West Bromwich Albion, and it's Warren Bishop with the team news.
Yes, good afternoon, Barry, and welcome along to Ashton Gate for a clash between two championship sides who've had upturns in form, with Bristol City unbeaten in the last 6 matches in all competitions under Nigel Pearson, and while West Brom have had a meteoric rise under new manager Carlos Corberán, who has won 10 of his last 14 matches as Baggy's boss. For team news for Bristol City, there's 2 changes from their draw against Blackburn Rovers, one enforced due to the departure of Antoine Semenyo to Bournemouth yesterday. There is a standout inclusion for striker Natalie Wells, who'll be looking to break into double figures for goals this campaign, and netted in the Robins' last win over West Brom in October last year. For the Baggies, it's 5 changes from their defeat at Burnley, with the main addition of Super Eagles defender Shemi Ajayi, who partners Dara O'Shea at the heart of the defence. There's also a place on the bench for 20-year-old academy graduate Jovan Malcolm, who scored his first professional goal for the club in their replay victory in the 3rd round over Chesterfield. About 4 minutes to go till kick-off at Ashton Gate. It's Bristol City against West Bromwich Albion.
Thank you very much for that one. Bristol City against West Bromwich Albion. Warren Bishop will be keeping a very close eye on that one for us this afternoon right here on Football Live. Right, so let's get our final FA Cup match on the radar, shall we? At the famous old Kenilworth Road, Championship Luton Town. Their home form is very poor. Their away form, well, you don't want to be touching them on your own patch. I tell you, they're very good away from home. Their away form excellent in the Championship in particular. So they'll be one of the very few teams playing at home in the FA Cup this afternoon. It'll be disappointed to have been drawn at home against Grimsby Town. Luton Town manager Rob Edwards is only too aware that this is a very tricky fixture.
We've been talking about it all week, and without we need to be, the only way we win is by winning this weekend, and we accept that. We know that we're favourites. We're at home up against a team a couple of divisions below. We know what we have to do, but all the while respecting Grimsby, recognising that they've knocked out 3 teams already from the league above them, and it's certainly not going to be easy.
Yeah, the only way to win is to win this weekend, he says, and he could have a point there. John Kane, they are the favourites. What's the team news at Kenilworth Road?
Good afternoon, Barry, and welcome everyone at Kenilworth Road, where Championship side Luton Town will be facing League 2 outfit Grimsby Town. Luton have been in a really good form this season, just outside the promotion playoff position, but today they'll be aiming to get further in the FA Cup. They are 7th in the Championship, while Grimsby are 16th in League 2. But as we know, the FA Cup doesn't know league positions. This game's got a Nigerian interest as Elijah Adebayo, who's of Nigerian descent, starts today for the Hatters. The 25-year-old has scored 5 goals so far, but I'm sure a good run for the Hatters can surely increase his tally for the remainder. As for Grimsby Town, well, their top goal scorer with 6 goals so far, Harry Clifton, will be starting today. A game that won't be easy after the big defeat against Swindon last week by 5-0. One notable player missing today is Luton Town's Harry Lansbury. People might remember him from his playing days at Arsenal and West Ham. He's out with an injury, but nevertheless, it'll be an entertaining game based on both teams' recent performances. Luton against Grimsby, kickoff is only a few moments away.
Oh, thank you very much, John. That's a game of nostalgia for me. One of the first games I ever saw as a young lad back in the day. 1982, I think it was. Luton Town 6, Grimsby Town 1. So there you go. Go and put your bets on there. Luton Town 6, Grimsby 1. Will lightning strike twice this afternoon? Thank you very much, John. We'll be back to him with all the latest news throughout the afternoon. Let's quickly recap on what's happening in the Bundesliga. The goals are flying in there at the moment. Werder Bremen leading Wolfsburg by 1-0. in the Bundesliga. Freiburg 1, Augsburg 0. I understand that Augsburg have just equalised there. It's now 1-1. Hertha Berlin 0, Union Berlin 0 is our featured game. We'll be across to that. Of course, we picked the only one that's still goalless, don't we? Hoffenheim are losing 1-0 at home to Mönchengladbach. Mainz are running away with it against struggling Bochum. They're 3-0 up already. We saw a couple of 6s and a 7 last week in the Bundesliga, and Mainz are already on 3, which is 29 minutes on the clock. From the Bundesliga, let's turn to La Liga, with Real Madrid not playing until Sunday. Barcelona know that a win this afternoon against Girona will send them 6 points clear at the top of La Liga in Spain. Barca 8 without defeat. But Girona have won their last 3 home league matches. This one kicks off at 1:15, so we've got about 15 minutes to kick off. Team news from the Estadio Municipal de Montilivi comes from our very own Matthew Key.
Yes, thank you very much, Barry. We've gone from the magic of the cup to sunny Spain, and specifically Catalonia, with a bit of a Catalonia derby here, with Girona taking on Barcelona. This one kicking off slightly later at 3:15. Well, the league leaders, there's some surprising team news. The main headline being top scorer Robert Lewandowski, 18 goals this season. He's not included in the squad at all, so be interesting to find out the reasons behind that. So 4 changes for Barca overall. Marcos Alonso in for Baldi at left back. Garcia in for Christensen at centre-back, Rafinha in for Pedri, who looks like he's been rested for this one, and Ansu Fati in for the former mentioned Robert Lewandowski. And as for Girona, they, as you said, they boast one of the best home records in the whole of La Liga, and they also make 4 changes from last weekend's defeat against Real. One of those is enforced, with Cuoto coming in at centre-back for the suspended Bueno. Juanpe returns and captains the side in for Martin. Herrera comes in for Villa, and their top scorer, fans of the Premier League might remember, Christian Stuani, former Middlesbrough striker, he's unavailable today, so Castellanos, who's got 4 goals in La Liga this season, comes in up top. So as I said, slightly later kick-off for this one, kicking off at 3:15. It's league leaders Barcelona travelling to Girona.
Thank you very much for that one, Matthew. He's got 15 minutes to wait for the first ball to be kicked, but I can tell you we're off and underway in all of our FA Cup matches this afternoon. Of course, we are keeping a very close eye on that. Half-time in Italy, and in Serie A, it's Empoli 1, Torino 0. A goal just before half-time, giving the home side a lead. 2 sides just outside the European qualification places. Sebastiano Luperto with the goal on 37 minutes. On the bench there, the Nigerian for Torino, Ola Aina. Also on the bench, the Serbian Sasa Lukic, who's been in exceptional form in the midfield this season for Torino, and he is being linked with a move away. Fulham are supposed to be one of the leading contenders. Freiburg back in the lead again in their game against Augsburg in the Bundesliga. That's now 2-1 thanks to a goal from Lucas Holler. And we'll be, across all the FA Cup matches as and when the goals start flying. And we'll go around the grounds in a short while from now to catch up with the very latest. Let's, in the meantime, turn our attentions to the earlier kickoff today, Hertha Berlin against Union Berlin. Gage Morgan is our reporter at the Olimpiastadion, and I was just saying just now when we were running through all the scores in the Bundesliga, this is the only game at 0-0. Has it been an entertaining 0-0, Gage, is the big question, I suppose?
Cheers, Barry. This week in his interview, Sandro Schwartz called for more intensity and aggression from his Hertha Berlin side, and that's exactly what they've showed. They're celebrating tackles, they're getting the fans well up for this game. And if you watch this without knowing, you'd think they were the team in 3rd, not the team in 17th. No real chances, a slight chance there from Suat Serdar, who's cleared it straight over the bar. But for the most part, for a Hertha Berlin side who are struggling and missing the Nigerian Ujuke, as well as John Joe Kenny, who's not missed a game, they seem to be the better team and defending quite well. It's currently 0-0 and we've played 34 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Gage Morgan. So 34 minutes gone there, 11 minutes to half time. And the first goal in the FA Cup this afternoon has to come from one of our 2 games that are not featured. It's Blackburn Rovers 0, Birmingham City 1. Reda Kadra with an early goal for the Blues up at Ewood Park, which is slightly against the grain, really. Blackburn have won the last 5 meetings against the Blues, including a 2-1 home victory just a few months ago before the World Cup. But at Ewood Park, it's Blackburn Rovers 0, Birmingham City 1 in the early stages at Ewood Park up in deepest Lancashire, where, well, it could be, well, not a shock because it's 2 championship sides, but certainly not one that many people were expecting to hear as early as the first couple of minutes. Birmingham leading at Blackburn.
Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon, Football Live is on Brilla FM, bringing you all the exclusive team news.
Everton Super Eagle Alex Iwobi still out injured.
The reaction of the players and, of course, the managers.
Well, James Maddison's doing very well, so we're hoping that he can be involved in the squad at the weekend.
The action as it unfolds throughout the afternoon.
Pressure from Brighton just told in the end. They've been absolutely fantastic, responded brilliantly to going behind.
And of course, don't forget the goals.
What can you tell us about the Brighton goal that has put them 1-0 up at the King Power?
I can tell you, Josh, that is an absolute screamer from Kaoru Mitoma.
Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon, Football Live brings you all of the action as it unfolds, right here exclusively on Brilla FM. Our FA Cup coverage continues tomorrow on Football Live. Josh Bailey is the presenter. The show starts at 1:45 in the afternoon. Stoke City take on giant killers Stevenage, whilst the big one, Brighton and Hove Albion, who beat Liverpool in the Premier League just 2 weeks ago, take on Jurgen Klopp's Reds at the Amex Stadium. That's the big match tomorrow afternoon. We'll also have games in the Eredivisie, La Liga and Serie A. It's going to be a busy afternoon for Josh Bailey and his team of reporters tomorrow from 1:45 on Brilla FM, right here on Football Live.
Indeed, and well, we're waiting for our first goal, and I can tell you it's come. And it's come at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 0, Sunderland 1. A turn up for the books there. Sunderland, long trip down for their fans, but they've filled their allocation at Craven Cottage and they've got something to cheer about in the opening stages there. And we will be across to Craven Cottage as soon as we possibly can to catch up with Ash Sandiford, who can tell us about that goal in a short while. Let's cross to Ipswich Town against Burnley. Ipswich having a great season, Burnley having a fantastic season. And this is a really good game, Jordan Mansour. And Ipswich Town have come mighty close to opening the scoring, haven't they?
Yes, it's Ipswich who've started the brightest. Electric start from them, really putting the Burnley defence under a lot of pressure. There's been a couple of loose balls from the centre-backs back to the goalkeeper. Some nervy moments for Vincent Kompany's side, who've been so consistent this season. But it was the ball was just neither with the Burnley players or the Ipswich players in the Burnley penalty area. And I think it was Jackson from Ipswich just nicked the ball from one of the defenders and tried to chip the goalkeeper, but just missed out and hit the bar, but very close. The Ipswich fans are really up for this. They can see the intent that their team is showing, but it remains Ipswich 0, Burnley 0.
So Ipswich 0, Burnley 0. We said at the top of the show that there will be surprises, I'm sure. One perhaps cooking up at Craven Cottage, where it's Fulham 0, Sunderland 1. Let's cross to Ash Sandiford, who can tell us about that Sunderland goal.
Yes, guys, early goal in this game, and it's Sunderland gets the goal. It's Sunderland 1, Fulham 0, and it's a goal from Jack Clark. He pounced up on a massive, huge mistake from Issa Diop, and he's bared down on goal, and he's just struck it into the right-hand corner, and they've had absolutely no chance of getting that.
Thank you very much, Ash. So Sunderland, a bit of a shock maybe there. The championship side that won the FA Cup 50 years ago. Tony Mowbray's side leading at Craven Cottage. Maybe history is about to repeat itself, although I can't see Tony Mowbray wearing a long grey raincoat and some tracksuit bottoms and shiny shoes running across the pitch at Wembley if they win the final. If you don't know what that's all about, the final in 1973, Bob Stokoe was the manager. This big overcoat on with some tracksuit trousers underneath as a fashion statement. It really didn't do him an awful lot of justice, but what a win for Sunderland, one of the biggest shocks, beating the mighty Leeds just 50 years ago. And well, that's maybe a shock there. Sunderland leading by a goal to nil. Earlier on today, Accrington 1, Leeds 3, Walsall 0, Leicester 1. So Leicester and Leeds both negotiating the tricky hurdles of lunchtime kickoffs away at lower league opposition to win through, and they are in the 5th round draw with Manchester City, who of course beat Arsenal by 1-0 last night. Birmingham leading at Blackburn, and we just heard Sunderland leading away at Fulham. They're the only goals to tell you about so far in the games that have been played in the FA Cup this afternoon. Barcelona go to Girona, that game kicking off in around about 4 minutes time, so that should be a game that will be underway, and we can cross over there for some latest news in just a few minutes time once that's underway. Let's cross to Kenilworth Road. Luton Town taking on Grimsby Town, and John Kane, an early chance for the home side, Luton Town.
They have, yes. Funny enough, it was Grimsby who's in control of the game so far, but the first chance for Luton Town, and it was that man, Eddie Bayo, whose shot was well blocked, and he just hit for a throw-in afterwards. It's still 0-0 after 10 minutes, but I'll tell you what, Grimsby are playing very well so far this season.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, John. And, a good win today for Leicester City. We heard about their victory in the FA Cup, winning 1-0. Local derby away at Walsall. And that puts them in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Brendan Rodgers, the manager, won the FA Cup just under 2 years ago with Leicester City. Be hoping that he can repeat that again this time around, where they're into the last 16. And Brendan Rodgers this week was celebrating his birthday. Well, at least that's what he told us.
What was on your cake? A fox?
Believe it or not, there was a couple of candles and a 50. There was 50 on the
original.
So, yeah, well, that's it. But the club are great. They're very, very good at recognising when you get to certain points in your life. And listen, I'm privileged to reach 50 and grow old.
Yeah, well, that's 50 years old now, Brendan Rodgers, and celebrated this week and celebrated today with a victory in the FA Cup away at Walsall. So, as I say, Leicester through, Leeds through, Manchester City through. No shocks so far, but Fulham losing at home to Sunderland is a potential shock in the making for us this afternoon. A little bit dry on the old goals. I think there's a chance that there might be a goal coming in very soon. In the meantime, I can tell you about a goal in the Championship. Aaron Connolly, who's on loan at Hull City from Brighton and Hove Albion, has scored, and it's Hull City 1. Queen's Park Rangers are on a horrible time of things at the moment, 0. So it's Hull 1, QPR 0 in the Championship. Hoffenheim 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 2. Jonas Hoffmann with his second of the afternoon, and things just go from bad to worse from Hoffenheim's point of view at the moment. Mönchengladbach winning comfortably already in that game, and I can tell you there has been a goal in one of our feature betches in the FA Cup. And it's gone to Bristol City, who have taken the lead against West Bromwich Albion. Bristol City 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. We'll be across to hear about that goal from Warren Bishop in just a couple of moments' time. And, Bristol City, probably the underdogs in that game, really, against the West Bromwich Albion side that are in good form. But they're an opening goal for Bristol City, leading against West Bromwich Albion 1-0. And, Let's cross, shall we, to Warren Bishop, who's at Ashton Gate. Bristol City 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. And Warren, you can tell us all about the goal.
Yes, it is the hosts that have got themselves in front. Bristol City 1-0 up, and it was a corner from the left-hand side. Played short, whipped into the box. It wasn't dealt with well enough by Daryl Dike, the West Brom striker. And Sam Bell for Bristol City has come onto the ball, 12 yards out, smashed it with his right foot right into the top corner. A punishing strike for some lax West Brom defending. And Bristol City, after 10 minutes, have an early goal and get themselves in front. It is Bristol City 1, West Bromwich Albion 0.
Thank you very much. And I can tell you there has also been a goal in our game in the Bundesliga. Union Berlin have gone and taken the lead in the Berlin derby. Let's cross over, shall we, and hear all about it from Gage Morgan.
Yeah, Barry, you'll struggle to find a more Union Berlin goal than that this season. A deep free kick from the captain, Christopher Twemmel, straight into the box, straight on the head of Dookie. That's another goal for him. He's scored every shot on target he's had this season. That's 6 goal contributions and 9 starts for the centre-half. Hertha Berlin have defended well. We've got a makeshift back four, but it's 1-0 Union, and we've played about 45 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Gage. In Scotland, Rangers 1, St Johnstone 0. An early goal there for James Tavernier. They won by that same scoreline away at St Johnstone in the Cup last week. Their last league defeat, Rangers, was in fact away to St Johnstone in November. They haven't lost at home in the Scottish Premiership this season, and they're leading this afternoon. So Danilo Duecki with the goal for Union Berlin on the stroke of half-time. Hertha 0, Union 1 in the Berlin derby. We just heard that Sam Bell scored for Bristol City, 1-0 up on West Bromwich Albion. Let's cross back to Craven Cottage. A massive chance for Fulham to equalise, Ash Sandiford, but they didn't tuck it away, did they?
No, they certainly didn't, Barry. Really, really good play from Fulham. They're getting really close to the byline on the edge of the box, and they had a corner. Harry Wilson fizzes one in, and Andrew Bayo literally heads the ball into the ground. It just goes over the crossbar. It's really, really close, and Patterson, the goalkeeper, will be really pleased that that went over the bar. Again, that goal from Jack Clark, a big mistake from Issa Diop. It was a horrific mistake from Issa Diop. Jack Clark nicked the ball off him and just bared down on goal, one-on-one with the keeper, and just slotted it just under the goalkeeper's legs. So it's still 1-0 here at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 0.
Thank you very much for that, Ash. Fulham 0, Sunderland 1, Hibernian 2, Aberdeen 0 after just 15 minutes. Oh, my dearie me. If you're an Aberdeen fan, well, look the other way. They've had a horrific week. Lost to Rangers in the semi-final of the Cup, and then it all went absolutely horribly wrong. They lost 5-0 last week in the league at Hearts. And then in midweek, they lost to level 6 non-league side. They're not even in the top tier non-league football in Scotland. Darvel, they beat them 1-0 in the Cup. So Aberdeen go crashing out in the Cup. And one of the big shocks in Scottish football history. And the manager's been under increased pressure there, but he's kept his job. But Hibs already 2-0 up on Aberdeen at Easter Road, and St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0. Salzburg are 1-0 up on Slovan Bratislava, thanks to a goal from Noah Okafor. And the half-time whistle has gone in the Berlin derby. It's 1-0 to Union Berlin in that game. So, well, it's interesting, actually. I've just had someone pass a piece of paper to me. The lowest goal scorers in the EFL, that's the second, third and fourth tier in England, lowest goal scorers by some distance this year are Gillingham. They have basically scored next to no goals. Bottom of the table. They have recently been taken over. Appointment of new director of football in Kenny Jackett and Andy Hessenthaler, two very well-known football heads around the football circuit in England. And they've gone and scored 3 goals in the opening 9 minutes of today's game. It's Swindon 1, Gillingham 3. Will Wright, who I know very well, scoring one of those 3 goals. So just goes to show, when it's a bit like the London buses, they just don't come along, and then suddenly they all come along at once. We have the former Everton man Duncan Ferguson back in football as well, by the way. He's the new manager of League One. It's the third tier here in England. Bottom side, Forest Green Rovers. They won League Two last season. He's the new manager. He was named on Wednesday, comes in, takes charge of his first game today. They're away at Shrewsbury Town, and Jordan Garrick has given them a lead. So Duncan Ferguson off to the best possible start, and it's a goal for them to give them a lead, and a great start for Duncan Ferguson. Let's head off around the grounds in the games that we haven't got goals yet. Let's start with Ipswich Town against Burnley at Portman Road. Jordan Mansell, we know that Ipswich came close. Have Burnley settled into the game yet?
Yeah, Burnley have definitely settled in, and to be expected, they have won 14 of their last 16 championship games. So despite Ipswich's bright start, yes, still level here and nothing much to report from the last 20 minutes. Although it is clear that Ipswich, if we're taking anything from this game, definitely have a good chance of getting promoted this season. They've got Kieran McKenna as their manager, who he actually retired at the age of 22 due to a hip injury, and he coached the Spurs under-18s, the Man United under-18s. I don't know if you remember, he was actually there. He was the man who looked a bit like Phil Neville, who would sit on Man United's bench and worked with Mourinho and Solskjaer. But he's currently managing Ipswich, doing a very good job at it. But Burnley come back into the game. Ipswich 0, Burnley 0.
Yeah, had a lot of good things about that Ipswich Town manager, and it looks like they are going to, well, it's going to be a very tough one at the top there. 2 go up, +1 from the playoffs, and it looks like it's any two of Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich Town and Plymouth Argyle, who currently lead the way. So where there are goals in the FA Cup in the afternoon kickoffs, Bristol City 1-0 up on West Brom, Birmingham 1-0 up at Blackburn, and Sunderland surprisingly leading at Fulham by a goal to 0. Let's head to that game between Bristol City and West Bromwich Albion. Warren Bishop, there's been chances at both ends in the last couple of minutes.
Yes, it seems the goal for the hosts as to spark the game into life. It was Bristol City who almost doubled their advantage. It was a long ball from Atkinson, the centre half, towards Bell, who scored the opening goal of the game. He flicked it on into the box, and Nakiwell chased it down against Nigerian international Shemi Ajayi. He tried to shield the ball off Wells, but got it horribly wrong, and the striker was allowed to nip in. He tried to lift his effort over the goalkeeper, David Button, but the goalkeeper did very well to smother it. Albion down the other end had a chance from the left-hand side with Adam Reach. He put a ball into the box. It found Jason Malumbi on the edge of the box, who just side-footed the ball to Tom Rogic, but he leaned back too much and lifted his left-footed effort over the bar. Just shy of 20 minutes gone now. It's Bristol City 1, West Brom 0.
Don't forget to interact with us on social media here at Brilla FM, at Brilla FM 889 on Twitter, and on Facebook at 889 Brilla FM.
At the head coop in Belgium in the Jupiler Pro, Westerlo 1, Mechelen 0. A goal from Kyan Vassen midway through the second half. Westerlo in the European qualification places, but no wins in 3. Mechelen down towards the wrong end of the table in 13th, but they have won 3 of the last 4 and have been showing signs of improvement. But the home side leading in that one by 1 goal to 0. And there's been a goal in the game down at St Mary's. It's Southampton that have taken the lead against Blackpool, and we'll cross to Molly and hear all about that one in just a few moments' time. But Southampton taking the lead in that game. So Southampton 1, Blackpool 0. Not the start that Mick McCarthy would have wanted. Another chance for West Bromwich Albion in the game at Ashton Gate. Warren Bishop, the visitors coming close to opening the scoring.
Yes, the Baggies are close to getting level. It was Jed Wallace who pressured Rob Atkinson after he dawdled on the ball. His clipped effort was then deflected off Atkinson and almost went over the Bristol City goalkeeper Max O'Leary in comical fashion. Carlos Corberán's men are pushing for this equaliser, but it still remains Bristol City 1, West Bromwich Albion 0 after 20 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Warren. Let's head to Kenilworth Road again, shall we? Luton Town 0, Grimsby Town 0. Last time we heard from John Kane. Is that still the case, John?
Yes, so still Luton 0, Grimsby 0. However, Luton did find the ball in the back of the net, but it was ruled out for offside through Cornick. However, Luton has improved in the last 5 minutes or so. They also had another chance by the Nigerian descent, Adebayo, but his chance just went over the bar. Luton more or less in control at the moment, but I can't rule out Grimsby coming back again because they started the game very, very lively. However, 23 minutes gone, it's to Luton Town 0, Grimsby Town 0.
Luton 0, Grimsby 0. Harry Cornick scoring a goal, having it disallowed. Scored last week in the win at Wigan. Scored in the last round in the win against Wigan. Scored lots of goals last season, Harry Cornick. He's only got 2 this season, both against Wigan. Looking for another one this afternoon against Grimsby Town. Still 0-0 in that game. Let's head off to the south coast to Southampton against Blackpool. And let's hear about that opening goal from Molly Sumter.
Yes, Barry, there's been an opening goal here, but not quite from somebody you'd expect. It's the left-back Romain Perron who has scored the opening goal. Now, Southampton have had a pretty frustrating opening 20 minutes here, really dominating an attack, but not managing to quite thread anything through to the main people up front. But as you can see, we have got a free kick here that has been converted, and it is 1-0 here at St Mary's.
Thank you very much for that, Molly. In the FA Cup last night, Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. Nathan Ake with the only goal. Bundesliga, Leipzig 2, Stuttgart 1. Dominik Szoboszlai with 2. Leipzig just 1 point behind Bayern at the top now. They're 11 unbeaten. They're going great guns, putting some pressure on Bayern at the top. In La Liga, Almeria 3, Espanyol 1. That brings to an end Espanyol's decent run of late. First win in 5 for Almeria, who are up to 11th. And Serie A in Italy, Bologna 2, Spezia 0. Bologna up to 9th. Lecce 1, Salernitana 2. Salernitana leapfrogging Lecce into mid-table. William Troost-Ekong, the Nigerian international, making his debut there for Salernitana, having signed with a view to a permanent move from Watford come the end of the season. In French League 1, Lorient against Rennes saw Bonk Innocent, the Nigerian, on at half-time for Lorient, up to 6th. Rennes stay 5th. That's a 1-0 win for Lorient. And in Turkey, Deli Ali on target. He's had a lot of criticism since he's moved to Besiktas, but they won 3-0 last night against Alanyaspor. He got the 3rd goal at Vodafone Park, and they go 3rd in the Juniper Pro in Belgium. Standard Liège up to 5th with a 3-1 win over struggling Jopen. And well, that's just about where we're at the moment. It's a little bit of a dry afternoon in the FA Cup. The early results: Walsall 0, Leicester 1, Accrington 1, Leeds United 3. Of course, we've got more action covered with Josh Bailey on the show tomorrow, and we'll be looking forward to that show in tomorrow afternoon. It starts at 2:45 in the afternoon. That should be a really good show. And of course, the Premier League is back next week.
The Premier League will be back next weekend on Football Live right here on Brilla FM. 2 shows on Saturday and on Sunday, and they will both be action-packed. Josh Bailey will be your presenter on Saturday. 5 Premier League games, including Liverpool's trip to Wolves and a game between Manchester United and Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. There's also the Midlands derby, Aston Villa against Leicester and Brentford against Southampton, Brighton against Bournemouth. A busy afternoon for Josh and his team of reporters. And then on Sunday, Chris Baldwin is your presenter for the big one. Tottenham Hotspur taking on Manchester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll also delve into the Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich, the leaders, are in action. A tricky away trip to Wolfsburg. And in Italy, it's Fiorentina against Bologna. That's next Saturday and Sunday afternoon. The return of the Premier League right here on Brilla FM and Football Live.
Razvan Marin has scored a 2nd goal for Empoli 20 minutes from time. Empoli 2, Torino 0. They're in great form, aren't they, at the moment? Empoli won at Inter Milan on Monday by a 1-0. This will be their 3rd successive win, and they're climbing up towards the European qualification places. Let's go to Ashton Gate. No goals in this game yet, Warren Bishop, but there seems to be plenty of chances.
Well, I'll have to correct you there, Barry. Bristol City have scored. It is 1-0 to the Robins, but West Bromwich Albion have come very close to equalising. A massive opportunity from the right-hand side. Adam Reach's corner. Perfect ball, 6 yards out. Okkar Yakushlu nods it just wide. A massive chance that you have to be taking to get back into this tie. 26 minutes gone. It's Bristol City 1, West Bromwich Albion 0.
Yeah, apologies. I didn't see that goal go in. So, just to be absolutely correct, let's just correct ourselves once and for all. There's been a goal at Ashton Gate. Bristol City 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. But listen, you know what? When I play that, I do mean it. So let's play it again. Because it's Bristol City 2, West Bromwich Albion 0. I beat you to that one, Warren. We'll be across to hear about the second goal in just a few minutes' time. Kenilworth Road, another chance for Luton Town. John Kane.
Yes, I have Luton are piling of the pressure now. Is Adebayo again, who's close of getting the shot, but he was blocked by the Grimsby defender. And then he had another chance to shoot, but this time again it's just been saved by the goalkeeper for a corner. Luton really had about 4 corners so far in this game, and I think it's just a matter of when Luton will score. I'm sure they'll be happy to get a good result at home here at Kenilworth Road. However, 28 minutes gone, still Luton Town 0, Grimsby Town 0.
The game in Spain at the Estadio Municipal de Montilivi between Girona and Barcelona kicked off at past, and a big chance for Barcelona, Matthew Key.
Yes, that's correct, Barry. And we know that modern goalkeepers love playing with the ball at their feet, but sometimes it doesn't always work, and that was the case here. Paulo Gazzaniga, the former Spurs goalkeeper, back up to Lariche for years, inexplicably really just passed it out to Ansu Fati, who managed to find his striking partner Ousmane Dembele. But then, great save from Gazzaniga, who managed to redeem himself and keep the score at 0-0. Still Girona 0, Barcelona 0 here in La Liga.
Well, we didn't know, but Bristol City were 1-0 up. Then we found out they were 2-0 up. We did tell you about that a few moments ago. Let's cross to Ashton Gate and hear all about that second Bristol City goal with Warren Bishop.
Yes, Bristol City double their lead. It's more calamitous defending from West Bromwich Albion. Carlos Corban were really displeased about it. It was a poor touch in central midfield from Jason Malumbi, allowed the interception and the ball to be played on the right-hand side to Sykes. He took a big touch, got acres of space and pulled the ball across the face of goal to Alex Scott, who had the simple task of tapping the ball into the back of the net. It's a mountain to climb now for West Brom. After 29 minutes, it's Bristol City 2, West Bromwich Albion 0.
Phenomenal today. Yeah, it's an amazing result. Absolutely stunning finish by Makaso. We're absolutely brilliant today.
Oh my goodness me.
And showing why they are one of the best teams in England right now.
There's really not much in that at all. I don't think it'd be long before they score.
I don't know what he's doing with his arm up like that.
I think it's going to have to be a bit of luck to get them back into the game at this rate.
Yeah, it's a red card here.
Oh, what an afternoon it's been.
Yes, indeed, Chris. What an afternoon it's been. It's been a slow burner so far in the FA Cup third round. Just to remind you that Manchester City saw off Arsenal last night by 1-0. And a bit of a blow for Arsenal as well, because they lost Thomas Partey at half-time with what looked like a rib injury. And here's what Mikel Arteta had to say when spoken to after the game about that injury to Thomas Partey.
Yeah, he had some discomfort and it was getting worse and worse, so he could not continue. He wasn't comfortable to continue. Tomorrow, the day after, he will have to be an MRI scan and see what he has. Well, we have at the moment the injury of Mo, that is not been possible to get him fit, and Sam is coming, and I think he's done well as well, and that's why we have players. It's true that Thomas is a big influence and is a big personality, an important player in our squad, and in the second half we didn't have him.
Well, that perhaps exposing just how little there is in the way of depth in Arsenal midfield. They have been linked this week to Moises Caicedo of Brighton and Hove Albion, and they've been knocked back. Arsenal with a bid for the Brighton midfield, we understand, and the Ecuador international. He's only 21, has rumoured to have handed in a transfer request in the past 48 hours. He's one of the most sought-after youngsters in the Premier League. He impressed early season for Brighton. He's impressed at the World Cup in Qatar for Ecuador as well. So, that's a blow for Brighton if they lose one of their main talisman. Several clubs, including Chelsea, of course, as well as Arsenal, are reported to be interested in Moises Caicedo, but they might need him even more now, Arsenal. That Thomas Partey injury, although it's not a serious one, whether it's a crack in the ribs or a muscular injury, that might be a couple of weeks, 3 weeks out. Arsenal next in action next weekend away at Everton, and we're still waiting for confirmation as to whether Sean Dyche has officially taken over as the manager of Everton. We haven't heard anything official yet, but it's been a slow burner, that one, the story. We're just waiting for it all to come through and be confirmed. In the FA Cup, a goal in one of our games that we're not featuring, Bradley Dack, has equalised for Blackburn Rovers at Ewood Park. Blackburn Rovers 1, Birmingham City 1. Let's touch base with a couple of our featured games. Ipswich Town against Burnley. This is a match with two very good teams, two informed teams coming up face to face. Jordan Mansour can bring us up to date. We're 10 minutes from half time. Who's on top in the opening, 36 minutes, Jordan?
Well, I think you've got to say that now Burnley have taken control of this game, as many people thought they might, and they actually managed to carve out a chance. It was Charlie Taylor, little combination down the left-hand side, and he found Jay Rodriguez, who has got himself 9 goals this season, going for his 10th, but the ball was blocked by one of Ipswich's defenders. They've got 3 there, and with this 3-4-3 formation, you don't see it too often in League One, but it's definitely working. It's definitely stifling Burnley a little bit, and they're able to come out at times and play through Burnley. But yeah, overall, I'd say Burnley on top. Burnley looking like the team most likely to score at this current moment in time. But this game really has the feel of a cup competition. The jeopardy's there. The fans are up for it. The players are wary of taking risks, bearing in mind what the reward might be, and too close to call at the moment. But Ipswich 0, Burnley 0.
Thank you very much, Jordan Mansour. They are, of course, top of the Championship. Burnley top scorers in the Championship. The top goal-scoring individual is Chuba Akpom, and he's gone and scored for Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough 1, Watford 0 at the Riverside. And Rangers, we heard 1-0 up earlier on. St Johnstone down to 10 men. Nicky Clark sent off. In the Bundesliga, the second half's just kicking off. Werder Bremen 1, Wolfsburg 0, Freiburg leading Augsburg by 2-1. The Berlin derby will cross over for an update very soon. Hertha and Union, it's 1-0 to Union there. Union Berlin winning 1-0. Hoffenheim in bad form at the moment, losing at home to Mönchengladbach by 2-0. Mainz, the goals are dried up there. They were 3-0 up inside the opening half an hour. That's how it is at half time, and indeed in the early stages of the second half against struggling Bochum. The top 2 will be meeting later on in the action this evening. As the Bundesliga top 2 meet at the Allianz, where leaders Bayern Munich have now gone over a year since losing at home. Eintracht Frankfurt are the visitors, but Bayern did win 6-1 in August at Frankfurt, but Frankfurt did win at the Allianz last season, one of the last teams to do so. In France, Marseille take on Monaco, big match this weekend in Ligue 1. 2 more FA Cup matches this weekend, 7 o'clock at Deepdale, Preston North End against Tottenham Hotspur, 9 o'clock West African time this evening, Manchester United take on Reading at Old Trafford. We'll hear from the former Manchester United legend Paul Ince, who now is in charge of Reading. We'll hear from him a little later on in the show. Ademola Lookman will be looking to continue his excellent form as Atalanta host struggling Sampdoria in Serie A. Inter Milan go to Cremonese, and another evening kickoff in Italy. So that's all to come this evening. Torino have pulled a goal back through Samuel Ricci, but 8 minutes to go. Empoli 2, Torino 1. Let's delve back into the FA Cup, shall we? We haven't been to Craven Cottage for a little while. Fulham of the Premier League trailing at home to Championship side Sunderland 1-0. Fairly strong Fulham side out there this afternoon. Ash Sandyfoot is watching. Have Fulham shown any sign of coming back into this game, Ash?
Well, Barry, I think they really have tried to really get back into the game. They've huffed and puffed. They're dawdling a lot in the middle of the park. I think Kearney's trying to pull some strings together and get people down on the left-hand side. Harry Wilson's just had a shot where he's just curled it round the right-hand post, but it was nowhere near the goalkeeper. Unfortunately for Sunderland, Ross Stewart has actually just got himself injured just after, I think, 22 minutes. He's their top goal scorer with 10 goals for Sunderland, and Sunderland will be really worried about him. He just pulled up just by himself with an ankle injury, and Sunderland fans will be really hoping that he'll get himself back as soon as possible. But still here at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
Southampton led last time we were with Molly Sumter down on the south coast against Blackpool. Is that still the case, Molly?
No, definitely. Blackpool really can't find their feet in this game. Southampton are just having all of the possession at the moment. I think last time I checked, it was about 60-30 to Southampton with that possession. They're really struggling, Blackpool, to get any kind of passes together, get past the Southampton midfield. Southampton are looking very, very strong. Keep getting forward, not quite converting at the last pass, but they are playing a good game. It's a shame for Mick McCarthy, this new gaffer. The players aren't really able to show off much of what they can do at the moment, but we'll see if they can do anything before half-time, or maybe Southampton will even get another. It's 1-0 here at St Mary's.
Let's talk about
Football Live,
baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about
Football Live.
Let's cross to Kenilworth Road, shall we? Luton Town haven't made the breakthrough yet, but John Kane, they're piling on the pressure.
They have indeed. Luton Town are piling on the pressure. There's chance after chance. So far I've had about 8 corners, and you can understand why, because Luton Town are more or less in control of the game. They just had a corner about a couple of minutes ago, and a FIFA's header was cleared off the line and gone for another corner. And then from that corner, it was a half volley from Clark, and it just goes over the bar. But then again, Grimsby Town start playing, and Luton Town again pile the pressure. How this game is still 0-0 is beyond me. However, we've still got 6 minutes to go till half-time. Still Luton Town 0, Grimsby Town 0.
Hertha Berlin 0, Union Berlin 1 was the latest when we last went across to Gage Morgan at the Olimpiastadion. That was a half-time score. We're into the second half now, Gage. How's things panned out in the early stages of the second half?
Union Berlin have really dominated these opening exchanges. Really struggling to see here at the Olimpiastadion. There was firecrackers going off in the Union Berlin end at the half-time. They were forced into a change. Andreas Schäfer had to be replaced by Paul Shagun. And also, Rani Khedira, younger brother of Sami Khedira, former Real Madrid player, has been booked for a late challenge. It's more of the same. Union Berlin are really starting to dominate possession, though. It's still 1-0 to Union. It's 50 minutes.
Let's go back to Craven Cottage, shall we? Ashley Sandyford is watching. Fulham knocking on the door, but they're still trailing Sunderland by 1-0.
Yeah, still trailing, but Fulham are really trying to wrap up these crosses in now. They had another corner, I think their 4th corner of the game, and they've tried to cross it in. I think it's Andres Pereira's whipped it in, and a good flick on by the central defender. And Vinicius has just tried to get his toe to it. It's just gone wide. Really fantastic chance for Fulham, and they're really starting to knock on the door now. And it's still Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
What a comeback for Torino, 2-0 down, 8 minutes to go. It's now Empoli 2, Torino 2. Antonio Sanabria with a goal in the Serie A match taking place in the last few minutes of that game. The equaliser coming on 85 minutes. That's 2 goals in 3 minutes for Torino. Looks like they're going to rescue an unexpected point from the jaws of defeat in that game. Let's go to our featured match in Spain in La Liga, Girona against Barcelona. It's been an interesting start to the game, hasn't it, Matthew Key?
Yes, that's right, Barry. We've just played under half an hour here. 28 minutes gone. Still Girona 0, Barcelona 0. But some bad news for Barcelona fans. Ousmane Dembele, so frustrating for him. Obviously, as we know, one of the brightest talents in Europe. 6 goals, 7 assists this season, and scored the winner for them in the Copa del Rey victory over Real Sociedad on Wednesday. But unfortunately, he's gone off injured with a muscular problem. He went down one of his trademark explosive runs down the wing, got tackled and just pulled up. Looked like he was holding his groin. So he's gone off. He's been replaced by Pedri, the man who was supposed to be rested. Well, he hasn't had much of a rest. He's gone over an hour to play here. Still Girona 0, Barcelona 0.
Right, thank you very much for that, Matthew Key. 18-year-old Stefan Bacetich has signed a new long-term deal with Liverpool this week. He made his debut in a 9-0 win earlier in the season in September against Bournemouth at Anfield, scored the winner over Christmas against Aston Villa. He's been a big part of Jurgen Klopp's plans as the season has worn on, and Jurgen Klopp is very happy to have got the player signed on a new long-term deal.
Stefan Bacetich, new contract signed yesterday, a real talent. You must feel he's got a very promising future.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew that was pretty clear from the first moment, but you never know how quick it goes. And I think we were pretty careful with him because of his age and all these kind of things. But he showed now that he's ready, and for us, very helpful in the situation.
So that's Jurgen Klopp. Pleased to get Stefan.
Natural skills
Bacetich
is something we didn't show often enough in the recent games. So they're great.
Stefan Bacetich signing for Liverpool, a long-term deal there. PSV in the Eredivisie have taken the lead at home this afternoon against Go Ahead Eagles. Joey Veerman with the goal in that game at the Philips-Stadion. They're currently third PSV, 1 win in 5 in the Eredivisie. They go to Leaders Feyenoord next week. Go Ahead Eagles in a good form, actually. 5 unbeaten away from home in the Eredivisie, but they find themselves behind this afternoon. And I can tell you there has been a goal in one of our FA Cup matches. And it's gone to Grimsby Town. Maybe another shock on the cards. Luton Town 0, Grimsby Town 1. Let's head over to Kenilworth Road and speak to John Kane, who can tell us all about that opening goal in that FA Cup game. And it's gone against the run of play. It's gone to Grimsby Town.
It's definitely went against the run of play. Luton Town, you would think the goal was coming any second now, but it was a corner that fell for Grimsby. Their first corner, comparing to 8 from Luton Town. And Houlihan finds it through, goes around the back, and a superb header finds the bottom corner of Luton Town. It's not what Luton were expecting. That's definitely not what we were expecting, but the goals do count. It's Luton Town 0, Grimsby Town 1.
Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon, Football Live is on Brilla FM, bringing you all the exclusive team news.
Everton Super Eagle Alex Iwobi still out injured.
The reaction of the players and, of course, the managers.
Well, James Maddison's doing very well, so we're hoping that he can be involved in the squad at the weekend.
The action as it unfolds throughout the afternoon.
Pressure from Brighton just told in the end. They've been absolutely fantastic, responded brilliantly to going behind.
And, of course, don't forget the goals.
What can you tell us about the Brighton goal that has put them 1-0 up at the King Power?
I can tell you, Josh, that is an absolute screamer from Kaoru Mitoma.
Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon, Football Live brings you all of the action as it unfolds, right here exclusively on Brilla FM. Well, Bristol City in control of the game down at Ashton Gate. Let's cross over to Warren Bishop. Sammy Ajay has been in the thick of the action. Chances at both ends.
Yes, he has, and well, unfortunately, he's been better offensively than defensively, but he created the chance for West Brom at the back. It was a beautifully threaded ball from his own half that went straight past the Bristol City defender, Rob Atkinson, who found its way into the path of the striker, Daryl Dike. He took the ball into the penalty area from the right side, smashed his right-footed effort across goal, but it was kept out by the foot of Bristol City goalkeeper Max O'Leary. And then moments later, a long ball was put up, and Ajayi didn't deal with it properly. For West Brom as he went through. It looked like Naki Wells was destined to run in on goal, but his fellow centre-back Dara O'Shea got a toe on the ball to put it away for a corner. More Bristol City pressure here as they look to kill off the game. With a couple of minutes left until half-time, it remains Bristol City 2, West Brom 0.
At Craven Cottage, Fulham have come close again, and there's been a yellow card for one of the Sunderland players. To tell us all about it, Ashley Sanderford.
Yeah, Barry, just coming up till half-time now, just coming into stoppage time of the first half, and it's again another chance for Fulham. It's Manuel Solomon. He's just gone down the left-hand side, and he's kind of scooped it and hooked it up into the air. It's gone about 60, 70 yards in the air. And on the volley, Pereira's just smashed it as hard as he could. And it was a great block from Danny Bollard, just off the line. He had no... It's a great block. I don't know how he had that sense to just get back behind the goal line and get it off the line. So it was a great little block there. Yes, and the booking for Sunderland, their left-back has just been booked, so he's got himself in trouble now. So Harry Wilson will be really looking to kind of start running at him and trying to get him sent off, to be honest with you. But Fulham really starting to progress and trying to get him back into the game. But it's still Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
Thank you very much, Ash. Hertha Berlin have come close to an equaliser in a Berlin derby against Union. Gage Morgan.
Yeah, well, Hertha Berlin are really struggling to get into the Union box. And if you can't do that, I suppose you do what Wicked just done. He's got 3 goals this season, none of which are from the halfway line, which is what he's just attempted. The ball broke in midfield, Rani Kadira just couldn't control it, and Wicked thought he'd have a shot. It tamely went wide, but Union were panicking just in there. Still 1-0 with about 60 minutes.
The half-time whistles are blowing all across the FA Cup matches that we've got going on this afternoon. Let's cross to Southampton against Blackpool. The half-time whistle has blown at St Mary's. Molly Sumter, Southampton have their noses in front at half-time.
Yeah, definitely looking the stronger side, Barry. They've really been heavy on the press, which did eventually pay off when Pero converted that beautifully taken free kick that landed just in the bottom right corner of the Blackpool goal. They're clearly not missing their resident set-piece taker, James Ward-Prowse, today, but condolences to Blackpool at the moment, who really can't get anywhere near them. But hopefully they can regroup in the dressing room and put themselves a bit more together and hopefully make a bit more of a game of it in the second half. But Joe Aribo of Southampton has really been standing out. The Nigerian international is really getting himself involved, getting himself up there. But it is 1-0 as we go into half-time at St Mary's.
And at Ipswich Town against Burnley, the half-time whistle has just blown at Portman Road. Jordan Mansour, all square at half-time?
Yes, no goals to report here. Pretty even affair. Burnley on top for the second half of the first half, and no real clear-cut chances, just a couple of efforts of both sides. One audacious looking chip from Ipswich Town which just missed out, and Burnley with the Jay Rodriguez chance that I mentioned to you earlier. So no goals, but certainly an intriguing affair. Still 0-0.
Thank you very much, Jordan. Now it's time to hand you back to the Brill FM studio. FJ is waiting by. Got a nice question for you, actually, FJ, just before you jump in. Since the year 2000, that's this century, which team has won the FA Cup the most times in the year 2000 through to 2023? Who's won the FA Cup the most times? When you come back, I'll tell you the answer. All over to you, FJ.
You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM with Barry Swain.
Oh, indeed you are. I set a lovely, easy question there for FJ, and he comes back and gives me the hardest question of all time. It was absolutely right, by the way, FJ. Arsenal have won it 7 times. They've reached the final 8 times, only lost 1 final out of 8 in this century. Chelsea's got 6, and they are the dominant force, the 2 London clubs. And then it's Liverpool with 3, Manchester United with 2, Manchester City with 2. Who's lost the most finals? Chelsea 5. Manchester United 3, Arsenal just the 1. As for La Liga, they've only conceded 6 goals so far this season. Barcelona, not without their problems off the field, of course. When did they concede the least? I honestly couldn't tell you. It would be a complete guess, but I'm going to say within the last 15 years. I'm sorry, I can't be any more kind of on the ball than that, FJ. But it makes me sound as if I don't know what I'm on about, and that's far from the truth. But what I can tell you, and I do know the answer to this, is there has been a goal in our game in the Bundesliga. So let's cross the gauge, Morgan, and hear all about it. Has it gone to Hertha Berlin, or have Union Berlin extended their lead?
Well, it's went to Union Berlin, but it's not without a big dose of controversy. Hertha Berlin were up in the Union box on a rare occasion. The ball fell to the birthday boy Kempf, the centre-half, who was fouled by René Khedira. The referee played on. It then broke to Geraldo Becker, ran the length of the pitch, squared it to Paul Seguin, the substitute, goal 2-0 up, just for the ref to bring it back to VAR. It was nervous in the Olimpiastadion, which went to Union Berlin. It's 2-0. We've played 70 minutes.
So Union Berlin now 2-0 up, Paul Seguin, with the second goal midway through the second half in that game. Half time in all of our featured games in the FA Cup. It's a chance for Barcelona in our featured game against Girona in the Estadio Municipal de Montilivi. Let's cross to Matthew Key. Let's hear all about that chance for Barca.
Yes, that's right, Barry. We've just entered 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half in Catalonia, and it's been quite a quiet one in truth. You'd expect more from two normally very good at attacking teams, but the best chance of the game has just fallen for Barcelona, and it was the man that's just come off the bench, Pedri. It was a lovely constructed passing move from Barcelona, and it was a link up between Pedri and the former Leeds man Rafinha on the wing. The Brazilian found the young Spaniard on the edge of the box, but his right-footed shot was straight at Gazzaniga. We've just had a couple of little incidents as well. Just a bit of spite being added to the game. Ansu Fati being booked after colliding with Gazzaniga. Got checked for VAR, but was never going to be any more than a yellow. And then just now, Castellanos playing up front for Girona. Him and Busquets went up with the former colliding with the experienced Busquets. All the Barca players jumped up, incensed, feeling it should be more than yellow, but once again was never going to be any more than that. We're just about to go into half-time in Catalonia. It is Girona 0, league leaders Barcelona 0.
Thank you very much. The Cameroonian Pierre Koundé has scored for Mainz in the Bundesliga. They're now 4-1 up against Bochum and heading towards 3 points, you would imagine, in that game. Mainz 4, Bochum 1. So let's have a little look. We've got Barcelona 0-0 at the moment away in their game in Spain. But I can tell you, Bochum have actually just gone and got another goal in that game. So Mainz 4, Bochum 2. It finished Empoli 2, Torino 2. 2 goals in the last 8 minutes for Torino, clawing back a 2-0 deficit. Rangers are 1 up on St Johnstone. We're down to 10 men at half time. As just mentioned, Barcelona 0-0 at the moment. Deep into stoppage time. The half-time whistle is imminent in that game. Hertha Berlin 0, Union Berlin 2 is our featured game in the Bundesliga, and got about 15 minutes to go in that game. In fact, the half-time whistle has just gone in the game between Girona and Barcelona. I've just spoken to Matthew. It's 0-0 at half-time. Then we'll be across to him for the updates in the second half as the action gets back underway. The action is just about to get back underway in the FA Cup. By the way, let's just go through those scores that we have for you. First of all, the two earlier scores at the Poundland Bescott. The Nigerian international Kelechi Iheanacho scoring the winner for Leicester City. All over social media, of course, during the break there with FJ. Kelechi Iheanacho with the goal, winning that derby away at Walsall at the Poundland Bescott. Accrington 1, Leeds United 3. Accrington scoring through the striker Leslie Adikoya, who has Nigerian parents and could, in theory, still play or choose to play for Nigeria. He's only 18 years old, tall striker, scoring late on for Accrington, but they lost 3-1 to Premier League Leeds United. In the FA Cup, maybe some shocks in the offing. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Fleetwood 0, an all League One affair. In fact, they played each other in that same stadium just 7 days ago in the league. Sheffield Wednesday won that one 1-0. That's 0-0 at the moment. Grimsby winning at Luton by 1-0 at half-time, and Sunderland ahead at Fulham by 1-0 at half-time. Bristol City 2-0 up on West Bromwich Albion, as we heard. Still goalless between Ipswich and Burnley. Southampton have a slender 1-0 lead over Blackpool, and we're off and underway in the game at Ashton Gate between Bristol City and West Bromwich Albion, 2-0 there. And I can tell you there's been a goal in the game between Blackburn and Birmingham. They scored early in the game, did Blackburn. Birmingham City equalising. Well, I can tell you they've just gone 2-1 up, Blackburn Rovers, in that game at Ewood Park in the first couple of minutes in the second half. Blackburn 2, Birmingham City 1. They've won the last 5 meetings with Birmingham Blackburn, so no surprise that they have come from behind and now lead by 2-1. We'll be off and around the grounds in just a few moments' time to catch up with all of our big matches in the Premier League. Of course, we're across the Bundesliga as well. So let's head back to Berlin. Hertha Berlin against Union Berlin. As Berlin bragging rights go, it looks like Union are going to have the bragging rights this evening. Gage Morgan.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Not long to go here in Berlin. Though there was a chance for Hertha there. It was Lucky Bacchio. He's got 7 goals and 2 assists, and he nearly scored from a set piece, which would have only been Hertha's second goal from a set piece. Union seemed to take that personally. They went straight back to the field. Great ball then missed by American striker Jordan, but it fell at the back post to Gisselman, who shot, and it looks like it hit the hand of the right back for Hertha. Prevaric went to VAR, no penalty, still 2-0, 76 played here.
Thank you very much for that, Matthew. We'll be around the FA Cup games in just a few moments' time. First of all, quick reminder that Football Live is, of course, not just a Saturday show. We are here on a Sunday as well.
Our FA Cup coverage continues tomorrow on Football Live. Josh Bailey is the presenter. The show starts at 1:45 in the afternoon. Stoke City take on giant killers Stevenage, whilst the big one, Brighton and Hove Albion, who beat Liverpool in the Premier League just 2 weeks ago, take on Jurgen Klopp's Reds at the Amex Stadium. That's the big match tomorrow afternoon. We'll also have games in the Eredivisie, La Liga and Serie A. It's going to be a busy afternoon for Josh Bailey and his team of reporters tomorrow from 1:45 on Brilla FM, right here on Football Live.
Interesting when you go through the history of the FA Cup. Nigerians have won the FA Cup. I've got a list of them here for you. Do you want to fire them off to you? Daniel Amokachi, remember him? In 1995, he became the first Nigerian to win the FA Cup. Everton beating Manchester United 1-0. He came on as a sub. Celestin Babiaro won it for Chelsea in 2000. Nwankwo Kanu has the dubious honour of winning it twice. Once for Arsenal, once for Portsmouth. Scored the winner for Portsmouth against Cardiff in the 2008 final. John Utaka, another Nigerian, also in the Portsmouth side that year. John Obi Mikel helped Chelsea win in 2007. Alex Iwobi was an unused sub in 2017, but picked up a winner's medal for Arsenal. And then that was against Chelsea in the final, by the way. The last Nigerian to win the FA Cup, 2018, was Victor Moses, then of Chelsea. By the way, Victor Moses back in training after a long injury layoff. He's been sidelined since last August with a ruptured Achilles tendon, but the former Chelsea and Super Eagles winger is back training with his side Spartak Moscow this week. So that brings you up to date with all the Nigerians that have won the FA Cup. But our primary job this afternoon is to keep you up to date with these. And I think it's safe to say that West Bromwich Albion could be tumbling out of the FA Cup this afternoon. Now 3-0 down to Bristol City. And I think we can cross actually to Warren Bishop, who can tell us all about that third Bristol City goal. And they're well and truly in control now, aren't they, the Robins, Warren Bishop?
Yes, so definitely. I did say it would be a mountain to climb for West Brom to get back into this FA Cup fourth round tie, but this is game over now, surely. And it's a lovely ball from the right back down the right hand side to Sykes, who has the presence of mind to just look up and whip the ball over to Sam Bell, who obviously scored the first goal. He takes a brilliant touch with his left foot onto his right as the on-rushing David Button comes out and just dinks it over into the back of the net. A glorious goal with some great quality, and Bristol City fully worthy of winning this tie at the moment. 5 minutes into the second half, it's Bristol City 3, West Bromwich Albion 0.
Bristol City of the Championship are beating fellow Championship side West Brom 3-0. Championship side Luton Town have got their noses back on level terms with Grimsby. Let's cross the Kenilworth Road. They were knocking on the door. Then they conceded just before half-time to Grimsby Town, but Luton have quickly found a way back into the game. John Kane.
Yes, they have, as Luton Town 1, Grimsby Town 1. It would take about 3 minutes to go back in level terms. It was through the penalty spot, and it was Adebayor who scored for Luton Town. It came from Mpenza, who was stripped inside the area, and the referee has no hesitation but to give the penalty for the home side. And it's nothing that Luton deserve, and probably Rob Edwards, the Luton manager, probably was wondering at half-time what his team can do more to score a goal in this half. Yes, did take a penalty, but they had plenty of chances, and the Adebayo, the Nigerian descent player, has equalised for them. 50 minutes now, and it's Luton Town 1, Grimsby Town 1.
Hoffenheim have pulled a goal back 10 minutes from time. It's the Togo international Ailas Bebu that scored. Hoffenheim 1, Mönchengladbach 2. Mönchengladbach still have their noses in front in that game. Triple chance for West Bromwich Albion, Warren Bishop, as they try and hook back into this game. 3-0 down away at Bristol City. They haven't quite give up the ghost just yet, Warren, have they?
No, they haven't. Carlos Corberán has responded by making a triple substitution, which sees Taylor Gardner-Hickman, Brandon Thomas-Asante and Grady Diangana come on for Tom Rogic, Jason Mullenby and Daryl DK as they look to push to get back into the game. They need a goal very, very quickly, and hopefully for them, the subs can make an impact. But with 52 minutes on the clock, it's Bristol City 3, West Brom 0.
Let's go back to the Berlin derby. A chance for Hertha Berlin. Might just be too little too late, Gage Morgan.
Yeah, thinking that way. Hertha are cranking up pressure here, though. They had a chance a few minutes ago. The ball went into Victor, and he just got right underneath it. It went over the bar. Since then, though, Hertha have dominated, and they're looking the most likely. Last season in Europe's top 5 leagues, Union conceded the least shots in the box. And today, it's that way. I think they're going to concede 2. Got around 10 minutes to go, and it's 2-0 Union. It's all Hertha.
Thank you very much for that, and that's the dying embers of that game. In one of the non-featured games in the FA Cup this afternoon, maybe a little bit of a surprise. This one, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Fleetwood 1. A goal from the wonderfully named Promise Omachere, who gives Fleetwood the lead in that game. Big striker that was brought in last summer from the Irish club Bohemians. And he has gone and scored only his second goal since his arrival in English football, but a big goal that. Westerlo 2, Mechelen 0 in the Belgium Jupiler Pro League. And as I say, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Fleetwood 1. Mönchengladbach have just responded to that goal from Hoffenheim by scoring a third. So Hoffenheim 1, Mönchengladbach 3 in the Bundesliga in Germany. Let's hop around some of the games that we've got going on at the moment. Chance for Fulham in the game at Craven Cottage, but the Premier League side are still trailing Championship side Sunderland. Ash Sandyford, Fulham started strongly in the second half.
Well, they started strongly, but it doesn't come as a surprise. This kind of scoreline at the moment. Sunderland in their last 7 away games, they haven't lost a game in all competitions. So Sunderland are really good away from home. Fulham have had 69% possession in that first half, and really has been dominating the ball and dominating play. And they had a chance actually after about 47 minutes. They had a chance. Harry Wilson again with that left foot just whips it tries to hit it in the top left-hand corner, and the keeper's just flipped it round the post. And it's another great save from the Sunderland goalkeeper. So once again, Fulham on the attack as usual and really starting to press, and they really want to get back into this game as soon as possible. It's still currently Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
Well, Grimsby were ahead. They've been clawed back by Luton Town. Let's cross to John Kane at Kenilworth Road. Grimsby had another chance.
They have indeed, and it was Harry Clifton who was tripped just about a couple of yards outside the penalty area, and but it was Alex Hunt, and the shot had just gone just a bit over the bar. It was a really, really good chance for Grimsby to go back, take the lead. And I can tell you, Grimsby really mean business here. They've really been defending very well, but you can't say that actually Luton has been the better side throughout the game, especially on the right-hand side. Doughty, who's been really, really active. He was really going to the Grimsby defences, but like we said, it was the story of the first half where they could not find the back of the net. In fact, they did find it once, it was disallowed, but I think Luton Town, more or less, they think is there to take the game and progress for the second round. However, 55 minutes gone, and still Luton Town 1, Grimsby 1.
Freiburg 3, Augsburg 1 in the Bundesliga. Philipp Leinhardt with a third for Freiburg, 5 minutes from time. Looks like they're going to pick up all 3 points there. Coventry City have taken a lead against Huddersfield in the Championship in England. Gustavo Heimer with the goal in that game. There's been a chance for Burnley at Portman Road against Ipswich Town. Jordan Mansell.
Yes, and the chance has fallen to Jay Rodriguez, and the optics were brilliant. I mean, the ball was just pinballing about the Ipswich Town penalty box, and it came out to Jay Rodriguez, who chested it down. Everyone was ready to react to a goal, but the ball just went straight at Hladaki. So a comfortable save in the end, but the goal was gaping for Jay Rodriguez there. But Ipswich then showed their threat by going up the other end and troubling the Burnley defence. So, as I said before, it's still anyone's game, but Burnley looking on top here in the start of the second half. Still 0-0, however.
Thank you very much for that, Jordan. So still 0-0 between Ipswich and Burnley. Maybe they'll have to do it all again at Turf Moor in around about 10 days' time. The dates for the replays yet to be confirmed. PSV have sealed a victory. Well, they haven't sealed a victory. They're half-time, and they're 1-0 up on Go Ahead Eagles at the Philips Stadion, as we heard earlier on today. So they're halfway to picking up their points in that game. Another chance in the game at Craven Cottage, Fulham against Sunderland. Chances at both ends, Ashley Sanderford.
Yeah, again, chances at both ends. And again, Fulham are pressing. They really are starting to pile the pressure on the Sunderland back four. It's Harry Wilson again. He's absolutely raided down the left-hand flank and got past literally two defenders just with one touch. He's really outdone them for pace. And again, he's sliced it across the goalkeeper. The keeper's just grabbed it with both hands, and another fantastic save from the Sunderland goalkeeper. At the other end, Sunderland really did get on the attacks, and Patrick Roberts came in with a right foot curling shot right down to the bottom right-hand corner, and again, goalkeeper saved it. But two back-to-back chances in this game, and it's very, very end-to-end, and it's a great game here at Craven Cottage, but it's still Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
Molly Sumter is down on the south coast watching the game at St Mary's. Southampton still have a slender lead against Blackpool, and a chance for the Championship strugglers, Molly.
Yeah, they've definitely come back for this second half with a lot more fight, a lot more confidence about them. And they had a moment just now where Poveda, who we spoke about at the start, got through on goal, one-on-one with the keeper. He was left completely open by the Southampton defence. The ball gets threaded through to him, and he tries to just chip it over Caballero, but he just catches it. It's not a strong enough attempt at goal. And we also just had James Husband for Blackpool sent off. We didn't exactly see why he went down, but it was a pretty quick decision to take him off the pitch, and he's been replaced by Jordan Thorniley for Blackpool. They're definitely getting forward a bit more, doing a bit more to try and get themselves back on level terms with Southampton, but nothing coming through for them quite yet. It's still 1-0 here at St Mary's.
Thank you very much for that, Molly. Let's go back to Warren Bishop at Ashton Gate. Bristol City 3, West Bromwich Albion 0. Another chance for Bristol City, Warren.
Yes, they look so rampant going forward. West Bromwich Albion defensively all over the place, and it was a chance for Mark Sykes, who's not had a lot of goalmouth action, should I say, compared to Sam Bell, who's found himself on the score sheet twice today. But it was well worked from the left-hand side from Bristol City. As Scott found the ball on the edge of the box to Sykes, who had the difficult task of digging the ball from out of his feet under challenges from West Brom players. He managed to do so, but then scuffed his effort wide of the goal. Bristol City now have a dangerous free kick on the left-hand side as Darnell Furlong is booked for a foul on Alex Scott. But we're just approaching the hour mark, and it remains Bristol City 3, West Bromwich Albion 0.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Warren. So it looks like Bristol City are off on their way and into the next round of the FA Cup.
You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM.
Mainz 5, Bochum 2 in the Bundesliga. Karim Onisiwo with the goal, and Wolfsburg have managed to find the back of the net as well in the Bundesliga. A very late goal away at Werder Bremen. It's probably too little too late. They trailed in that game by 2-1. Glenn Kamara has scored a second goal for Rangers against 10 men. St Johnstone now 2-0 in the SPFL in Scotland. So, and Jerry Barton's Bristol Rovers 4-0 down at Morecambe. Morecambe in great form at the moment in League One, the third tier in England. FA Cup earlier on, no shocks, I'm afraid. Leicester City through, and so too Leeds United. And we've got a goal in our featured game at St Mary's. Southampton have doubled their lead. It's now 2-0. And we'll be across to Molly Sumter in just a few moments' time to hear all about that goal. Roman Peru scored the first in the first half. We'll go and find out who scored in that game. And of course, as soon as the goals go in, we tell you about them as soon as the ball hits the back of the net. A goal in the game at Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. An equaliser for Fulham. Will be across to Ash Sandyford as soon as possible to get an update. Fulham back in that game and level 1-1. And let's go to St Mary's, shall we? We heard in the first half Roman Peru had put the Saints ahead, and it looks as if they are on their way into the hat for the 5th round draw. 2-0 now, Molly.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great goal. It's that man again, Roman Peru, who is fired again into the bottom right corner of the goal. You do feel for Blackpool because they really were on the front foot, but at the single chance they had, Southampton have punished them by going forward, sliding the ball through the defence. It's too easy for them. And Roman Peru just gets the time to find his feet, firing home into that bottom right corner, as we said. It is now 2-0 here at St Mary's. Southampton looking like they are going to go through.
Does indeed. Hoffenheim not having a good time of things of late. Hannes Wolf has scored in injury time. It's now Hoffenheim 1, Borussia Mönchengladbach 4 in another goal-filled afternoon in the German Bundesliga. They returned back from a nice long winter break last weekend. The goals were streaming in. I tell you what, they're still going in right now. And yeah, I can tell you, as we just heard there, a second goal for Southampton, 2-0. Roman Peru with both of those goals, and we'll be across to Craven Cottage in a short while to catch up with Ash Sanderford. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1 is the latest there. Tom Cairney, the Fulham skipper, with the equaliser for Fulham. Let's head across to the early stages of the second half at the Estadi Municipal de Montilivi. Girona against Barcelona, and plenty happening, including a half-time substitution. Matthew Key.
Yes, that's right. Barry, Xavi clearly not happy with what he's seen from his team first half. They've been quiet, not too much in the attacking areas for them. So change at left back with Marcos Alonso coming off for what you'd call the more attacking Jordi Alba, the experienced Spanish international. Been a game, like I said, it's been a bit niggly, and already a couple of yellow cards in this second half. It was Xavi actually himself got booked just before half time, not happy with one of the referee's decisions. And young Gavi just been booked for Barcelona for a foul on Martinez, the Girona centre back. So yeah, bit of spice in this one. Wouldn't surprise me if it didn't end 11v11. But I have to keep an eye on it. 4 yellow cards already so far, but it's still waiting for our first goal. It's Girona 0, Barcelona 0.
Well, Grimsby could yet be in the 5th round of the FA Cup. It's currently Luton Town 1, Grimsby 1. Luton will be keen to try and avoid a replay and get it done today if possible, although their away form suggests they will go there as favourites were they to have a replay. And well, let's go back to Kenilworth Road, shall we, and catch up with John Kane. A double change for the home side, Luton Town, as they go for the win.
Yes, they have. I think Rob Edwards, the Luton manager, wants a bit more accuracy in that front. And he has taken Harry Cornick and Campbell from midfield, and he brought in Woodrow and Morris, and both play up front. So now we've got 3 players playing up front. So it's gone from 3-5-2 to 3-5-3. Of course, both players will be with Adebayo for Luton Town. They have been piling on the pressure. So far, Luton had 10 corners in total. And of course, the only corner that Grimsby have so far is the one that scored the goal from it just before the end of the first half. But Luton definitely want to be in the next round, and they definitely want to finish the game today rather than a replay. But 65 minutes gone, it's still Luton Town 1, Grimsby 1.
Just when you thought it might be over on the south coast at St Mary's, Blackpool have gone and found the back of the net. It's now Southampton 2, Blackpool 1. We'll be across to Molly Sumter in a short while to catch up with her, who could tell us all about the goal for Blackpool and its game on down there. Let's go to Craven Cottage, hear about the goal and the substitution for Fulham. Fulham 1 and Sunderland 1. Ash Sandiford.
Yes, and it's Sunderland 1 and Fulham 1. It's a great game, guys. It's end to end. Sunderland are really trying to play on the counter attack, and this time it's to their downfall because Fulham have got themselves a goal back from Tom Kearney. He scored a great little goal just with his right foot, just underneath the goalkeeper, and they've got themselves back level. Alexander Mitrovic has just come on now, and Fulham will be really looking to press on and kick on in this second half. It really is end-to-end stuff, and Sunderland really trying to do that counter-attacking style. It's still Fulham 1, Sunderland 1.
Another goal in the game at Kenilworth Road, just when I was saying that Luton Town would be favourites if they were to have a replay away at Grimsby. Well, they've gone and scored that second goal. 2 attacking substitutions. It seems to have paid off pretty much immediately. Luton Town 2, Grimsby Town 1. We'll be across to John Kane in just a few moments to hear about that goal. 2 goals this afternoon for Aaron Connolly on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion at Hull City. They're now 3-0 up on Queen's Park Rangers in the Championship. Don't forget, we are on Twitter at BrillaFM889 and on Facebook at 889BrillaFM. For all the latest football news, visit www.brilla.net and click on latest news for all the latest football news as it breaks. Let's head off down to the chilly south coast, shall we? Molly Sumter can tell us all about that Blackpool goal.
Yeah, Joe Aribo was so close to making it 3 at the other end for Southampton, but it was very patient, tactical play from Blackpool, who were working really, really hard in this second half. They just about managed to get it up through to a very young player, just 19 years of age. We got Charlie Patino, who was converted to make it 2-1 in this game at St Mary's. Definitely going to be an interesting next 25 minutes, and we'll definitely be looking out to see what happens next. It's 2-1 here with 70 minutes on the clock.
Well, what was I saying about Luton Town not having to go to Grimsby for a replay? Let's cross to John Kane. Luton went 2-1 ahead, but Grimsby have immediately equalised. Sounds like a cracking cup tie, John.
It was absolutely brilliant. Jordan Clark, who's been very active for Luton in that middle of the park, managed to score the beautiful goal from his right footed shot into the back of the net, and then straight from kick-off, Grimsby just gone straight forward, and it fell for the main man, Harry Clifton, from just inside the penalty box. Beautiful shot, put Grimsby ahead. That lead from Luton only lasted about 30 seconds maximum, and it's game on again. It's Luton Town 2, Grimsby Town 2, 69 minutes gone.
Wow, so that one back in the balance again. Looks like it might have to do it all again at Blundell Park, which is right up on the coast in Lincolnshire. That will be a bitterly cold evening, I'm sure, for the replay, and it will be a keenly contested tie. The sea is literally right next to the ground. It's literally a stone's throw. You've got the stand, then you've got a road and some people's back gardens in between. Then you've got a railway track. Then you've got the beach and the sea. It's a strange old place. I've been there, and it won't be an easy place for Luton to go if they don't sort themselves out right now and win that cup tie first time out. Could be a tricky hurdle away at League Two. Grimsby in the replay. Now, tonight, Paul Ince takes his Reading side to Manchester United. If there's a tie that you look at in the fourth round of the FA Cup and say, yeah, that's a home win banker, it's probably this one. Reading were beaten 4-0 last week away at Stoke City, so they don't come into this tie in particularly good form. But Paul Ince is looking forward to his return to Old Trafford, where he has plenty of fond memories.
I think I was happy at all the clubs that I played for. But yeah, listen, I think when you think about making out a team that not won the Premier League for 26 years or won the title, however you want to say it, you know what I mean, to be part of that team that actually started the ball rolling, you know, in 92 was a great achievement for us, you know. So, and then that one was probably a special one because it was probably the last. I think Brian Rodman retired that year. So Matt Busby was obviously hanging on to see us win it, and then sadly passed away after that. So it wasn't just about, you know, winning the title. It was about what was around it more that has made it more important.
Sheffield Wednesday 1, Fleetwood 1. A goal for Sheffield Wednesday to draw level in that all League One affair in the FA Cup at Hillsborough. They played each other last week in the league. Sheffield Wednesday scored late on to win 1-0. Well, they scored fairly late on to equalise. Let's go to Craven Cottage. Ashley Sanderford. Fulham have got themselves back on level terms. They've already brought on Mitrovic. I understand they've just made another change.
Yeah, Barry, that's right, mate. They've had another change for them. They've taken off Harry Wilson in the middle, and they've brought on Williams on, the ex-Arsenal and Chelsea right winger. So the big guns are on now for Fulham, and they'll be really looking to really pressure on in this second half. Sunderland are now starting to drop deeper and deeper in this second half, and probably having one eye on next week's fixture in the Championship. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how this game pans out this last 20 minutes. But 70 minutes on the clock. It's Fulham 1, Sunderland 1.
So Willian is on for Fulham. Of course, the Brazilian international, 70 caps for Brazil. He played for Arsenal just 25 times a couple of years ago. Big legend over 7 years at Chelsea, 250 odd games, 37 goals for them. He's had a cracking career. He was at Corinthians again last season, but he's decided to give the Premier League another go, and he's doing okay. He's on as a sub, but can he win it for Fulham? Right, let's go to our game. Sorry, I was going to head into the game that we were featuring in the Bundesliga, and I got sidetracked by a load of goals going in. So my apologies to Gage Morgan, who has seen the final whistle blow in the Berlin derby at the Olimpiastadion. Have Union Berlin taken the 3 points, Gage?
All 3 points to Union there, and it's about as typical an Union Berlin performance as you can predict. The lack of possession, set-piece goals, strong defensively, it's really perfect. In my opinion, you'll struggle to find a derby in the top 5 leagues with two teams as different as that. Union Berlin flying, shoestring budget, and Hertha Berlin are really, really struggling. The sporting director, Bobic, this week said that Sandro Sorts isn't possible for him to get sacked. A 5-0 loss in a week, a 2-0 loss today, and they're right at the bottom of the Bundesliga might force him into a decision. In all, 2-0 Union, They go level and Bayern Munich, who play later on.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that this afternoon, Gage. Watching that Union Berlin victory just across the city this afternoon against their near neighbours, Hertha Berlin. So, well, Jim Goodwin under pressure as the Aberdeen manager in Scotland. They lost 5-0 last week at Hearts in Edinburgh. Then they went crashing out of the cup in midweek to 6th tier non-league minnows, Darvel, who basically play on a park pitch with a rope around it. They're a village team and no more. One of the biggest shocks in Scottish Cup history. And today, well, he's holding on to his job, isn't he, John Godwin? I think he's not doing his chances of staying in the job beyond Monday a lot of good, because they're now 4-0 down back in Edinburgh against Hibernian at Easter Road. Kevin Nisbet has just made it 4-0 in that game, and it does look as if his job is very, very much on the line. West Bromwich Albion, well, giving it a go. They've had a couple of chances, but 3-0 down. It's probably too little too late, isn't it? Warren Bishop down at Ashton Gate against Bristol City.
Yes, it looks so, Barry. A late flurry of chances in the last 5 minutes, really, after a 15 or 20 minute spell, which was very quiet. And it was Bristol City who instigated with the first chance with Alex Scott driving in the midfield and playing a lovely ball through to Sam Bell, who won a hat-trick, had a poor touch with his left foot, and David Button was well down to smother it. West Brom had a couple of big opportunities themselves, with Okoye Kushlu slipping in, substitute Brandon Thomas-Asante on the left, and his smashed effort was tipped over by Bristol City goalkeeper Max O'Leary, and O'Leary then made another excellent save from the resulting corner as Darnell Furlong flicked it to Kushlu, who stabbed the goal. It was a good reaction save. We've just got about 14 minutes now, and it looks like Bristol City are going to make their FA Cup 5th round for the 3rd time in 5 seasons. They lead by 3-0 to nil.
Well, we said at half-time, FJ alluded to the fact that they've only conceded 6 goals, Barcelona. If they can keep it watertight, looks like they're going to take another 3 points today, and they will open a 6-point gap at the top of the league in La Liga in Spain, because they have taken the lead at Girona. Let's get across to Matthew Key and hear all about that goal.
Yes, Bray, the deadlock finally been broken right on the hour mark here in Spain, and it's Barcelona, the league leaders, that have gone 1-0 up, and it's the 2 substitutes that have combined. One change was enforced, one was tactical, and it's Jordi Alba overlapping down the left hand side like we've seen over the years so many times. He puts in a great cross. Gazzaniga in the Girona net. Could he do better? Probably. Gets a hand to it, but he can only palm it right into the path of Pedri, who's running onto it 2-3 yards out, open goal. He was never going to miss from there. Big scenes in the Barcelona away, and their fans absolutely delighted with that. Looks like if their defensive record can be as immaculate as it has been for the rest of the season, they'll take all 3 points at a really tricky place to go. It's Girona 0, Barcelona 1.
Heading into the last 10 minutes in our featured FA Cup ties in the 4th round of the Emirates FA Cup. Fulham are huffing and puffing to try and get the job done first time around at Craven Cottage. Ash Standiford, another chance for the Cottagers against Sunderland.
Well, Barry, yes, it's actually 2 chances Fulham have just had. The first chance, well, the 2 substitutes have combined really, really well so far since they've both come on. And William was just going down the byline. He cuts it back to Mitrovic, and it was a poor touch from Mitrovic, and it's got away from him. He could have had an open goal, to be honest with you, and it's got away from him. The second chance with a free kick just outside, about 3 or 4 yards just outside the 18-yard line of Sunderland's box. William with the free kick bends it over the wall, and it's actually a great save from the goalkeeper again. He's done really well today, the Sunderland central goalkeeper. He's done super well, but it's still 1-1 here. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1.
Now, if I was sitting down looking at the FA Cup 4th round draw, and I thought to myself, I'm going to go and watch a game, one that would certainly been high on my priority list would have been Ipswich Town against Burnley at Portman Road. However, Jordan Mansour was still waiting for the first goal in this game, unbelievably. Ipswich against Burnley. It does look like they're going to have to do it all again at Turf Moor in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, and no real clear sign of a goal coming either. The game sort of settled into a pattern of, well, Burnley recovering the ball pretty quickly and Ipswich unable to really escape Burnley's pressure. However, they were able to do that once, and I think we've seen over the years, if you're playing against a cohesive pressing side like Burnley, you want to get in behind their midfield and be face to face with their defence, and that's exactly what Ipswich did about 10 minutes or so ago. And it was Lee Evans who picked the ball up in the centre circle, and it was just him. Straight ahead was the Burnley defence, reluctant to retreat as they always are, and the ball was played in behind to Jackson, and he put a ball in, but Burnley defenders managed to clear it up. But I've been really impressed with the intensity and the willingness to try and match Burnley, because Burnley one of the most impressive sides in English football this season, but Ipswich really putting in a good effort, and it looks like they'll probably get a draw and take the Turf Moor. But is that enough for them? 25,420 fans here. They know their best chance of progressing to the fifth round for the first time since 2007 will come today, not in a replay at Turf Moor, but it remains 0-0.
Great to see Portman Road so full, and the club on the up again. Their main priority surely is promotion and not an FA Cup run, but we shall wait and see. Let's cross to the game in the Estadio Municipal de Montilivi. It was Girona 0, Barcelona 1, an opening goal on the hour mark, but the home side have responded very well, haven't they, Matthew Key?
Yeah, that's correct, Barry. They were in the game for all of it, really. They've been more than matched Barcelona, really. But Barcelona getting that goal, you thought heads might drop for the home team. That's not been the case at all. They've responded really well. Won a corner. Barcelona couldn't quite clear, and a shot was blocked and fell to Martinez, who was inside the 6-yard box. He tapped in, but I think him and everyone else in the ground knew he was offside. About as clear and obvious a decision as you're ever likely to see. No problem for the official. No need to go to VAR for that one. Still, Girona 0, Barcelona 1, but the home side responding well.
Thank you very much for that, Matthew.
You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM.
So the latter stages of the FA Cup this afternoon. We're into the dying embers of our show this afternoon. I'm sure somewhere in one of our 5 games that we're covering in the FA Cup this afternoon, there's just a little bit of drama. There's been plenty of drama down at Kenilworth Road. Let's catch up with John Kane. It was last Luton 2, Grimsby 2. Is there to be a final twist in the tail, maybe, John?
I wouldn't be surprised if there have been. I think Luton and their manager Rob Edwards really trying to finish the job here today. He just taken one of the defenders' spots, and he put in another striker. So we got 4 strikers now in Onyedinma. So Rob Edwards definitely wants his job done. It's still 2-2 with just under 9 minutes to go. And they are still piling under pressure. They already had 10 corners so far, and they keep piling up as well. And we just had seen a great chance as well from one of the substitutes, Morris. Brilliant header, and even a better save by the Grimsby goalkeeper. And just gone for another corner. And Benza had a bit of problems. The Luton Town player, he was injured for a couple of minutes, and that looked like a worry for Luton Town. But I think Luton Town don't want to replay. They want to concentrate on their championship promotion race. But we've still got 8 minutes to go. If Luton wants to finish the job, they've got 4 strikers trying to do it. 8 minutes to go. Still Luton 2, Grimsby 2.
That's one way of trying to win a cup tie. Played with 4 strikers. Luton trying to get themselves over the line against Grimsby Town in that 4th round game. That was a non-league game just 3 or 4 years ago when they both resided together in the National League, but have both bounced back to better things. Grimsby bouncing back last season at the first time of asking, relegated from the Football League twice in the last 10 years. Let's go to the game at Ashton Gate. It looks like time is fast running out for West Bromwich Albion and Warren Bishop. They are 3-0 down to Bristol City, but they are creating chances still.
Yes, they definitely are. It looks like Bristol City goalkeeper Max O'Leary isn't going to be beaten today. He's just made another unbelievable save to deny the substitute Brandon Thomas Thomas Asante. It was a corner in from the right from Grady Diangana, and it was a pinball situation in the penalty area. Thomas Asante just managed to turn his back and get the shot away, but was blocked by the chest of O'Leary. 6 minutes to go. It remains Bristol City 3, West Brom 0.
Yeah, and it looks like Bristol City are going to be through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. You never know. Their manager, Nigel Pearson, not known for smiling, might actually smile if his side can see that one over the line, which they should do. 3-0 to the good. 2 big goals in League 2. Northampton in third, 2-0 up at Barrow, and staying up north. Tranmere won the leaders, Leyton Orient 0. In the FA Cup, the games that are entering the last 5 minutes or so: Blackburn leading Birmingham 2-1. It's Bristol City 3, West Brom 0, as we just heard. Fulham and Sunderland are 1-1. Ipswich and Burnley are 0-0. Luton and Grimsby are 2-2. Sheffield Wednesday and Fleetwood are 1-1. And Southampton are leading Blackpool by that 2-1. So of the games that are being played, 7 of them, it looks like 4 of them are going to go to replays, but there is still chance for something to change in and amongst it all. Let's go to Matthew Key. And since Barcelona have taken the lead, Girona have really been knocking on the door, and they've come close to an equaliser, haven't they, Matthew?
Yeah, that's correct, Barry. As I say, since the goal, Girona really sort of been egged on by this crowd here. Big crowd wanting their side pull off what would be a big upset. And yeah, they've come close once again. They're not quite gone gung-ho yet, but the changes have come, and it is top scorer Christian Stuani that has come off the bench for the Catalonian home team here. Well, he's obviously someone with great pedigree. Former Middlesbrough striker, as we know, and he's scored over 100 goals for his current side, where he's really found a home after struggling in the early part of his career. Top scorer for this season on for Girona, like-for-like change with Castellanos going off. But yeah, Girona might be able to do something very impressive here and score against this formidable Barcelona defence. It's still Girona 0, Barcelona 1.
Thank you very much for that, Matthew. Let's head back to Kenilworth Road. It's been a really good cup tie, actually. Luton 2, Grimsby 2. And the chances just keep on coming, don't they, John?
They do indeed. And you mentioned the 4 strikers. It's very odd to see 4 strikers on the pitch, but I think that have its consequences as well, because you sort of more or less left up quite light in the back, and that's exactly what happened. It was lovely play by Orsi for Grimsby, and it fell for Harry Clifton, of all people, the main striker for Grimsby. From 6 yards, you would think he's going to score the winner for the Grimsby, but it was blocked in the last second by the Luton defender, and he literally afterwards had a danger free kick, again wasted by Grimsby. Grimsby would have thought that was the chance to take them to the second round. But we're still 4 minutes to go. Luton now on top again. And it's still Luton Town 2, Grimsby Town 2.
Let's head into the game at Ipswich Town against Burnley. Still waiting for our first goal. There's been a good chance for Ipswich Town at Portman Road. Jordan Mansell.
Yes, great chance. And it was Freddie Ladapo, the substitute, who yet to play for Nigeria, but actually eligible to represent either England or Nigeria at international level. Well, he's having a great season. He's Ipswich's second top goal scorer. And he, full of energy, burst down the left-hand side, managed to float over a delicious-looking cross to the back post. And the ball was hit on the volley. Maybe he could have taken it down. He had a slightly more time than maybe he thought. But he went for the shot, and it was saved by the goalkeeper. And then just a few minutes later, Ipswich were continuing to put the pressure on Burnley for the first time consistently all half. The ball was picked up on the edge of the penalty area, and there was one player wide, one player looking to definitely creep in behind the Burnley defence, but there was too much weight on the pass. But Ipswich, sudden revival within this game, and they've made 3 substitutions. Burnley have made 4. And 5 minutes to go. 0-0 still, but pretty close.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Freddie Ladapo was invited to train with the Nigeria under-20s for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup back in 2011. He did go along. It was in England, but he didn't make the final 21-man squad. He's not represented England or Nigeria, so it's still open. No time perhaps running out on an international career, because he's gone and scored, nearly scored there. It would have been great if he did score, because he celebrates his 30th birthday next Wednesday. There's Freddie Ladapo, but no goal for him this afternoon for Ipswich Town. Remains 0-0 in that game. Let's go back to the game between Girona and Barcelona. Big appeal for a penalty. It went to VAR, but it doesn't appear to be Girona's afternoon, does it, Matthew?
No, that's right. They're still really pushing here. We've still got about 15 minutes left because of the late kickoff time. So still quite a while for Girona to go in this one. And it was that man, Christian Stuani, just come on, causing havoc in the box. It was a corner, it was whipped in. He was being, we'll call it, held tightly by Frankie de Jong. That would be polite. He had his hands all over him, did the Dutch midfielder. Stuani went down. The Girona players incensed that they should have been given a spot kick, not given by the referee. Was probably one of those where if it had have been given, I'm not sure it would have been overturned at all. So yeah, Girona can count themselves a bit unlucky there, I'd say. And in the sort of aftermath of that incident, Arno Martinez booked. He picked up a yellow card, which means he'll be suspended for Girona's home game against Valencia next weekend. 50 minutes to go here. It's still Girona 0, Barcelona 1.
Any football managers out there wondering where the next job is going to come available? I think it might be Aberdeen. We spoke about their manager getting away with it. Lost 5-0 at Hearts last week. Lost to non-league opposition in the week. It's now Hibernian 6, Aberdeen 0. And Aberdeen are down to 10 men in that game too. Blackburn Rovers 2, Birmingham City 2. Jordan James in the 91st minute. And it looks like there's quite a few games in the FA Cup this afternoon that are going to go to replays. Blackburn are level now with Birmingham. Fulham Sunderland is 1-1. Ipswich Burnley 0-0. Luton Grimsby 2-2. And Sheffield Wednesday against Fleetwood 1-1. One game that's not going to be drawn is Bristol City against West Bromwich Albion. Bristol City 3 goals to the good. Let's head back to Warren Bishop. I think this game's been over for a while, but any signs of West Brom just trying to get something out of this game?
Well, they're continuing to knock on the door. It was a corner in again from the right-hand side, which fell on the edge of the box to Jake Livermore, but his smashed effort towards goal was comfortably saved by the Bristol City goalkeeper, Max O'Leary. Just not been West Brom's day from Carlos Corberan's perspective. They've had chances, they've been wasteful compared to Nigel Pearson's side. They've had the chances and punished them. We've got about a minute and a half to go here. It remains Bristol City 3, West Bromwich Albion 0.
There's been a goal in the game at Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1, as we last heard. Fulham have thrown on Mitrovic. Fulham have thrown on Willian to try and win the game. Would you believe it? Sunderland have just gone and scored in the first minute of stoppage time. It's Fulham 1, Sunderland 2. We'll be across to Ash Standerford in just a moment, and he can tell us all about that goal. I said somewhere there's going to be some late drama, and it seems to be at Craven Cottage. They scored very early on Sunderland. They've scored very late on Sunderland. In between, Fulham have been the dominant force, but it does look as if another big side up towards the top end of the Premier League is going to go tumbling out of the FA Cup. And in fact, that goal, I can tell you, Sunderland's goal has been disallowed. So Fulham fans out there, you can breathe a sigh of relief. You are in the cup, albeit that you need to go to the stadium and quite possibly in a replay in 10 days or so. So it's Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. We will head across to Ash Sandiford, who can tell us all about that in a little while. Full-time, Hibernian 6, Aberdeen 0, and I get the feeling Aberdeen might be looking for a new manager in the next day or so. That's 11 goals they've conceded in the last 2 league games. So it has finished Bristol City 3, West Bromwich Albion 0. The first of our final whistles. The show is fast grinding to a halt, but let's try and pack in as much as we can with some quick updates from the games as we go around the grounds. Let's go to Bristol City against West Bromwich Albion, where that final whistle has blown. Warren Bishop, comfortable in the end for Bristol City.
Yes, very comfortable, and Bristol City see themselves through to the 5th round of the FA Cup for the 3rd time in 5 seasons. They took the lead in the opening 10 minutes when a short corner was poorly dealt with by the West Brom defence, and Sam Bell reacted quickest to thump the ball into the top far right-hand corner. The Robins doubled their lead just shy of the half-hour mark when the ball was pulled out to the right-hand side for Sykes after a slip-up in midfield from West Brom, and he had the simple task of pulling the ball across to Alex Scott, who grabbed his first goal of the season. The tie was wrapped up 5 minutes into the second half when Bristol City added a third with the ball for the right from Sykes, and it was whipped in, taken brilliantly on the left side by Sam Bell, who chipped it over David Button with his right foot to double his tally for the game. Full time at Ashton Gate, it's Bristol City 3, West Brom 0.
Ash Sanderford, we thought Sunderland were going to squeeze through to the 5th round of the FA Cup at the expense of Fulham, but the goal has been disallowed at Craven Cottage.
Yes, Barry, it's been disallowed, and rightly slow, to be honest with you. It was a quick fire attack from Sunderland. They got down on the right hand side, and it was Diallo that was offside in the end, but he did cut it back to the youngster Chris Wigg, and he thought he'd be the hero for Sunderland, the youngster, but he didn't manage to get the goal, and it was ruled out for offside. So it's still Sunderland 1, Fulham 1.
Thank you very much for that, Ash. As soon as Ash hands back, I can tell you I've just been told that the final whistle has gone at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. They must replay in 10 days' time. Deep into stoppage time in all the other games. The final whistle has gone in the game at Southampton against Blackpool at St Mary's, and they've managed to squeeze through to the FA Cup 5th round. Having a great season in terms of cup form. Southampton just can't convert that to league form, but a good win this afternoon for Southampton. Molly Sumter.
Yeah, we had about 6 minutes of extra time, but there wasn't much going on. Southampton, they clearly got a little bit worried at the end after that Blackpool goal went in. So they were very conservative with their play, just knocking it quite, easily around. Blackpool looked almost a little bit defeated even before the final whistle, getting quite frustrated. A few messy passes from them, which did end a game which, it could have gone to a draw and could have gone to a replay for them, but they weren't quite there. As we said, they saw the last 5-10 minutes out with ease, Southampton, and kind of took loads of substitutions, more of game management than tactical changes, just to really knock the steam out of Blackpool. But it's full time here at the South Coast. Southampton 2, Blackpool 1.
Thank you very much this afternoon, Molly. And the final whistle has also gone in the game between Ipswich Town and Burnley. And sadly for our reporter on this game, Jordan Mansell. Jordan, I thought we'd given you a real cracker here, but it's ended 0-0. Is that right?
Yes, that's absolutely right. 0-0 here at Portman Road. There'll be a replay at Turf Moor, and Burnley will be hoping for better in that game. Just near the end, Ipswich had a chance. Well, it was out of nothing, really. The ball just looped over and hit the bar. That was the closest either side really came for all Burnley's possession. They didn't really manage to carve out anything. And it ends 0-0. But I don't know about you, Barry, but maybe we should scrap replays and decide the game of the day. Wouldn't that be a little bit more exciting? 0-0 here at Portman Road.
Well, depends if you like penalties or not. I think that one might have gone to penalties had it gone straight to penalties for 90 minutes or extra time. 99 minutes on the clock. Blackburn 2, Birmingham 2 still. Luton still playing. That's 2-2 as well. And Sheffield Wednesday Fleetwood still playing. That's 1-1. Looks like there's quite a few replays coming through in the FA Cup. And let's head back to Kenilworth Road, shall we? I know the final whistle hasn't gone yet, but let's get a quick update from John Kane. Looks like this one's heading towards Blundell Park for take 2.
Yes, it looks like it indeed. We just finished the 7 minutes, but we're still playing due to small injury. Still 2-2, and if anyone can get a winner here, it'll be great for both teams. I'm sure Luton don't want to avoid it. However, still 2-2 with literally seconds to go here.
Hey, thank you very much for that, John. And that looks like that one's going to be a draw. 10 minutes of stoppage time at Hillsborough. Still Sheffield Wednesday 1, Fleetwood 1. Looks like it's going back to Highbury. They beat QPR, of course, in the last round. Fleetwood. Sheffield Wednesday beat Newcastle. And that one's heading towards a replay. So just a quick recap of this afternoon. Fulham, Sunderland is a draw. Ipswich, Burnley drawn. Southampton squeeze past Blackpool. Bristol City make light worth of West Bromwich Albion. Luton 2, Grimsby 2. Hertha Berlin lose at home to Union Berlin in the derby. And Barcelona currently leading thanks to a goal by Xavi on the hour at Girona. Thanks very much to our reporters, Ash Sandiford, Jordan Mansour, Molly Sumter, Warren Bishop, John Kane, Gage Morgan and Matthew Key. Pat Norat has been our producer this afternoon. Thank you very much for your company. Don't forget, we're back tomorrow. Josh Bailey with some more FA Cup action here on Football Live on Brilla FM. Have a good evening.